Good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to Case by Case. I'm Amy, and I'm joined today by Cherie and the streets of Bakersfield.
Hello.
And hopefully Dee will be here.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
Living the dream.
Yeah. So we have quite a few people in the chat already. Let's see, guys. Judge Jessica. Let me see. Donnie Pitbull.
Is that Donnie Coons?
Yes. Donnie
What's
Pitbull
up?
Coots. Pandora's Box. Rivy 8D Burr. I don't know. Tammy McRae. Sure. There's a lot of people here. So Mama D's here. Hey D, if you want to come up, come on. You got the link.
Come on, Mama D.
Yeah, come on, Mama D. Indiana girl, true and faithful as always. Teresa, under your scars. Hello, under your scars. Okay, you guys, before we get started, hit that like and subscribe and share the video, please. What I had planned on doing this whole big production today, and I actually had it started, but I don't know if you guys are tired of my PowerPoints. So
I love PowerPoints.
do you like them?
I do.
They take a lot of work. I mean, like if I'm going live at 7 p.m. at night, I am up at 8 o'clock in the morning working if I don't have the opportunity like earlier in the week to get started. If things come up and I put it off and I'm like, okay, Friday night, Saturday, I'm going to work on this. I'll kind of put a list together and prepare for Saturday morning to be 15 hours here in the office. And I was going to do that today, but it doesn't, I just kind of felt like because we're dropping the link and we're going to let people come up and talk, I didn't want to put a whole bunch of like restraints on what everybody had to say. So, hey, Four Pits. Hey, Sleuthy. Hey, Sleuthy, if you want to come up, girl, you are the dictionary on this case. So here are the ground rules. There's not many. Dee, do you want to say hello? Do you have anything to say today?
I don't really have anything to say. I'm going to be doing a couple chores and listening, but I'll chime in if I have anything pertinent.
Okay.
All right.
Take a woo-saw.
Yeah, I know, right? Like ever since the trial, I swear I have just like almost avoided Delphi stuff because I just I'm so sick of it. Like I'm so sick of all of the like the other night when people were asking about the fundraiser, I'm like, not this shit again. I can't. Like if you didn't donate, you don't get to ask about it. Like period. Because I promise you, nobody who donated is worried about it.
I'm not worried about it.
It's just the standard, typical. And then when they run out of actual arguments, then they start attacking people for their weight or their looks or the way their voices sound. And it's just, So yeah, I'm gonna go take me a blood pressure pill and I'm gonna listen.
Okay.
All right.
I knew you had shit to say.
Oh yeah. I probably shouldn't, but yeah.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so here are the ground rules on this.
My phone going. Oh.
Right?
Sorry, it was my boyfriend. My bad.
Okay, so here are the ground rules. I'm going to drop the link, and those of you who come on, don't be discouraged. I'm only going to let one person on at a time, and I'm going to let them have the floor and discuss their opinion, their theory, and we'll see how that goes per each person. I don't want to give people time limits, but I want to make sure I can get as many people on here as I can in the next couple of hours. So please know that if you click on the link and you come in behind stage, you have to show me who you are. If you don't want to show your face, you have to turn off your camera when I bring you on board. If you want to show your face, more power to you. I normally show my face, but I'm still in my pajamas, to be
Yeah, I was
honest.
going to show my face, but I look like
Yeah,
I
I'm
look
still
like
in my
Sunday.
pajamas. I've been at this, and you know what? And the crazy thing is that when I say I've been at this all day, I thought I was going to be working on this stuff for this live today, but no, I had a lot of information come to me in the last 2 days, and I'm just kind of trying to weed it all out. So,
Ooh.
yeah. Um, Anywho, so if any of you, let me drop the link in here.
I'm so
And
nervous right now.
you're nervous. um, you know what? I'm really hoping that people are not going to be ridiculous and come up with some craziness. I
This
really
is
want.
Delphi.
I know, but I really want to have productive because I really want to have productive conversations
Yeah.
and things that you know we can we can actually decipher through as a real theory. And I hope somebody comes on here that can go all the way back to the very beginning and talk about Tina Rodell and Megan Allen.
Megan
So
Allen's falling off the. I'm friends with Tina Rodell on Facebook. She's just normal now.
yeah, but I mean, that whole situation is, you know, yeah, there's a lot to look at there from the very beginning. Order in the court. I wonder who was the cop or investigator who did.
Richie Davis.
What is his name? It starts with an H.
Hammond.
No, it's not Hammond. It's freak. I'd have to pull it up. Um, so yeah, Indiana girl. So Tina Rodell, very like in February of 2017, Tina Rodell claimed that her daughter was picked up in a white car with fictitious. Well, it was
Paper
expired,
plates
paper expired tags. The
from a
tags,
neon dart or
yeah,
something
a
like that.
neon dart or a white Accord.
Yeah.
And the boys caught her attention. Her daughter was going to go out and get in the car. So she started taking pictures. And I have the pictures of the car. And it was Megan Allen, is who her daughter is. Megan Allen went out supposedly to the bridge with Keegan Callis, Tyler French, Jeff Reagan, and some other people from Kokomo met them out there, including supposedly Gabe Ellis.
Was Tyler French living in Delphi or Kokomo? Because his stepdad lives in Delphi.
Yeah, Tyler French's stepdad at that time lived right down the road from the Monon High Bridge, and he actually had trail cams on his property that were confiscated, but it did show that the kids were there late afternoon, early evening of the 13th. And then supposedly they went out to the bridge or the trails and they camped out because they were making meth.
At that 375 West North Street
Yes.
that house is the house that Ron Logan used to live in, but like back in like the 80s or 70s or something. But he's listed on on the address, he's listed as one of the residents.
I can't.
I know, but it's like that everywhere. If you
It
look
is.
like that 403 South Monroe Street, that house is all kinds of a conundrum too.
Mhm.
Well, see though, you got to be careful with that because if we're using like open source, you know, like
Fast people search.
Intellius, that type of thing, yeah, like people finder, whatever. Like all you have to do to get someone to be associated with an address is you can go in and fill out a contact form on one of the people that they buy data from. So like whether that be for like, you know, a CVS extra care card. I don't know. That's just an example. I don't know that they
Uh-huh.
buy data from them, but as an example, all you have to do is be like, my name's Keegan Klein. Here's my phone number, and you can put in your phone number, and then all of a sudden, Keegan Klein's connected to you when you search his name. So you have to be
Yeah.
careful with that stuff, like just because
I
it's
went
really
to
easy for. Plus, it's all
I
AI
went
generated. Go
I
ahead.
went to mine to see what it was pulling in, you know what I mean? And there were some people on there like my ex-husband's ex-wife, like I've never even met her. And then like her whole family is on my associated people and I'm like I have no idea who those people are. And they don't have any of my recent addresses. They have addresses from when I was like in my 20s and in the Navy. They don't have any of my like home addresses on there. So it is weird, you know, what they pull out. Tilly. Sorry, my dog is running to the trash can. Tilly,
Okay.
get over here.
So
Tilly.
the Tina Rodell guys, the I have a whole notebook here in front of me. Tina Rodell, her daughter was Megan Allen. Megan Allen was at the bridge that day. But the interesting thing about Tina Rodell is that she is the sister of Christy Martin. Christy Martin was involved with running meth with Derek German. And when they got busted, there was a couple of arrests. Christy and Derek were arrested together. And then shortly after, Christy did another meth run to Ohio and was arrested. So, long story short, it's been said that the supplier of the drugs that Christy was running and Derek were running, that Derek snitched on the supplier or ripped him off. So she did several years. She did almost 10 years in prison. Not quite 10. But Chrissy Martin is now, should I say this?
It's weird. I know. I asked him about it. I actually sent him a message and he answered me and he denied it.
Oh, well, so as of right now, Christy Martin and Anthony Greeno's addresses show that they live together, the same address, right after the trial of Richard Allen. Go ahead.
I did ask him about it. I can show you the message. He was like, "Why would I be living with Christy Martin?" I was like, "Well, it pulls up that you are." I think he was drunk because usually when I've talked to him, his you know, he has proper grammar, and this time he was all over the place. So I think he may have been intoxicated, but I asked him and he denied it.
So what did he say?
But did he deny it, or did he just say, "Why would I be
Why?
living with her"?
That's all he said. Why would I be living with her?
Okay, that's not denying it. That's just
Yeah.
that's answering a question with a question to deflect and get you off
Yeah.
topic, which he's really freaking good at. And you can't believe a damn word that comes out of his mouth anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
But that does come up
Um,
that they claimed the same address in 1224, which is right after the trial.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Like you said, those things aren't always.
Whose name is the house under? Is it like actually?
It's just the address. It just comes up on the address under Spokio that they both moved into that address on 1224.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll look at somebody can. Maybe I will, or somebody look at the.
I'll send it. I'll send it to you.
The actual property. The actual property records, because then you can see who literally legally owns
the
the
house.
property, and you'll know, like,
it's probably a rental. It's probably a rental office or a
Yeah.
rental company that owns the property, because she just got out within the last year and she's been very quiet, which I don't blame her.
She's doing, like, if you look them, like Prater and Christy Martin, a lot of them, that crew, they're all like in recovery and doing really well right now. I must say.
But yeah, probably we should just talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, guys, in the chat, I'm going to drop the link. Please be on your best behavior. Please be on your best behavior. Serious people only come up.
I have a feeling that we're gonna get a visit.
Yeah. Well,
was here the other night.
if we get that visit, I'm okay with it, as long as they control themselves.
Okay.
But I'm going to drop the link, and remember what I said. You got to show your face, but you do not have to be on camera when I bring you on board. Just and if there's a couple of you backstage, be patient. I will try to keep each person's time minimal. I don't want to give anyone time limits. So here we go. I'm going to drop it in the chat.
And, like, don't be awkward. I mean, don't make us feel awkward by having to be like, okay, so is there anything else? Okay, can we be done now? You know, when you're done, just be like, okay, cool, I'm a bounce. Because, like, you know.
It's weird.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be rude, but if, like, we don't really want to talk about, like, what you ate for dinner and shit like that. I mean, no offense.
Oh boy.
All right, I'm gonna go away.
Okay.
Come on, people, ask them questions. Come on, Greeno, you know you want to.
Yeah. Michael Phillips, I know he wants to too.
Oh, I know. But I can't ever understand him. He talks too fast.
It's not even that he talks fast. It's that he sounds like a drunken dog with peanut butter stuck to the roof of his mouth. I can't understand a word he says. So it's not. I don't think he talks fast.
D, I'm gonna mute you.
Okay, good. I got stuff to do. I'll just go. It's fine.
I'm gonna mute you.
Okay, bye.
I love you.
I don't believe most of the stuff he says. It's like Garrett Kurtz. Like, you listen because there's like nuggets of truth in there, but you don't know what is true.
Yeah, Garrett is just completely. I mean, I don't even have the words to describe him.
Is he always been like that, or did drugs do that to him?
No, I think he's always been like that. I think that was, um, but I think it took Ashley a while to realize, and I'm going to be honest. I was married for 18 years, and I was married to a habitual liar, and someone who lied about things that you would never even think you would like, just common everyday things
Yeah.
that they lie about.
Lying
And
for
so it
no
takes a
reason.
while. It takes a while to figure that out. And
Yeah.
then once you do, you start to question everything.
Everything.
And I think that's kind of what happened here is that, Ashley started to realize that, like, wait, what? Like, why would you lie about that? And then, and the problem with Garrett is he really forgets what he lies about.
Yeah.
And um,
He also transfers a lot. Like he'll say, like with Talitha and Ashley. Like I honestly think that everything that he said Ashley did, Talitha did.
yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And
He
when
did it
he
with
just,
Chris Mathis when he
and,
described how Mathis killed her. It was
hmm
like, you know what I mean?
hmm and I think when he went on Open Secrets, um, oh, and I'm going to address this too while we're on here because I was really upset this morning. While we're waiting for someone to have the courage to click the link and come on up.
You can do. I'm so nice. Don't worry. I won't make fun of you.
That's okay. I Let me see here. I'm going to drop the link again, guys. Don't be afraid. Just come on. You
Come
don't have to
on.
show your face. I won't.
Come
I
on,
won't even.
Rafi. Rafi. Come on. We want to
Yeah.
hear what you have to say. Come on, Rafi. War Leon. As above, so below. You've been at this a while. We're old pals. Come on, hit the link. Rafi, you can do it. Come on, Rafi, hit the link. Hit the link,
So,
Rafi.
Rafi.
He's
So
a
just
he's a
so.
fireball, but he's been around for a long time.
Oh, I know. I know. So, this morning, I have always covering Ashley Garth's case. I have always been very respectful to Nicole's family, Nicole's mom, and she's come into my chat, and sometimes she's been very, cordial. She's communicated, and then other times she's been a little bit, I don't want to say combative, but I understand her position. Um, Her daughter was lost in all of this, and I definitely feel her pain. I lost a sister to domestic violence, so I have a little bit of an understanding of that. But um, she's a little bit Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like she comes in, she's very cordial, and it's
I hope they feel better, Rafi.
I've seen her um, going elsewhere and talking crap, and and that's okay. But yesterday when we did the video and we started the recoverage of Ashley's case, she obviously waited until after the stream was over to leave a really kind of nasty message, and I'll read it. So, good Lord. She left a nasty message. And when we get deeper into covering Ashley's case, everything that I'm going to say right now, I'm going to show you during the coverage of Ashley's case. But she left a message that said, Nicole was a tomboy too. Nicole has 2 boys, and they can't talk to their mom. At least Chevy can hear his mom's voice and visit her. Nicole's boys get to talk to a hand Nicole's boys get to talk to a headstone. Not trying to be a bitch, just tired of poor Ashley. This and that. What the hell? What about my daughter? I will never hear her voice again. And that's painstaking, but at the same time, to be honest and to be real, Nicole's mother knew exactly the kind of person that Nicole was. Nicole was a victim, absolutely. She did not deserve what happened to her. However, neither did Ashley. And nothing anyone says today will ever bring Nicole back. That doesn't mean that another person should be victimized for the rest of their life for something they didn't do so you can feel justified. And not to mention, her mother went to court, got custody of Nicole's sons, and Nicole was not even allowed to live under the same roof as her boys. Not only that, but I have proof of not just Nicole's mother, but also Nicole's sister publicly having a conversation with one of Nicole's baby's dads, telling him that he needs to keep Nicole away from their son, and she's nothing but trouble. And the only way to keep the boy safe was to keep him from Nicole. Now, regardless of the rumors, regardless of anything else, that is, you know, you can't have it both ways. And I'm not expecting Nicole's mom to discuss Nicole's past. She doesn't have to. She doesn't have to justify it. But at the same time, if Nicole's mom was truly, she has followed my coverage for the past 2 years. If Nicole's mother really felt that she wanted justice for her daughter, she would be pushing the prosecutor in Newton County to file charges against Jason Palladino and Talitha Beckley for the murder of her daughter. Ashley didn't have anything to do with it. She was there, but not by choice. It wasn't. And Garrett wanted to make it out. Garrett is very good at acting like, for example, this is Garrett. Garrett said that he got caught having a relationship with a guard in the White County Jail. While he was in there negotiating or attempting to negotiate his plea in the Ray Hanish case. And he claims he got caught, and because he's such a wonderful piece of shit, he took the plea deal in Ray's case for 55 years. So this jail guard didn't get in trouble. That's
They
Garrett.
got caught. She was already in trouble. Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's Garrett Kurtz, though. Everybody around him are the bad people, and he did things to. I did it because, but they. It's always I did it because, but they, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's but those of you who are in here right now that are not familiar with Ashley's case, we're getting ready to re-go over her whole entire case, and we are bringing in Ray's case as well because it's a part of it. Please show up for it because Ashley is not in the same situation as Rick Allen, but Ashley is somebody who was wrongfully convicted because the case just was it was a farce, period. Do I think that Kurtz could have been there that day picking up his paycheck from the Hog Clan? He lost his job on the 7th February, I remember. Okay, Sunday soapbox. I don't know about picking up a paycheck. It's my understanding that Garrett was working at Packers, the Packers plant, and he was still in orientation. But he did do side jobs or was a farmhand for Ron Logan. I don't know if he got paid for that work or not, but do I think that Garrett Kurtz could be in? Okay, if we're going back to the very beginning of all of this, Garrett Kurtz is absolutely on the list, on the suspect list. There's no way for him not to be. Especially, like, I personally believe that Betsy Blair saw Bridge Guy. At least, well, I can't even say that. The individual that Betsy Blair saw was a younger man. Who is the younger man, and was he a part of the Ron Logan, Keegan Kline trio, if that whole situation is true? And I'll be honest, I don't even know if Keegan Kline was even there. Keegan Kline is a liar.
Yeah, Keegan Kline is a wild card every time.
Well, I see Keegan Kline and his dad being, two peas in a pod involved in all of this shit. And I could see Tony being friends with Ron Logan before I could see Keegan. That's just me. And then Keegan taking credit for it. But I just don't understand going into a prison and admitting that you were involved with the murder of 2 children. I mean, that can't get you much. That can't get you much clout. So I just dropped the link again. Where are you? Where's everybody at? Big J D420. Okay, I'll look at it.
Who's Rick Huddleston? I know that there's Huddlestons are all over this thing, but which one's is he? Kyle Huddleston or is he Logan Sport Huddleston? Oh, nephew of I know that there's a Kyle Huddleston, and he lives in a lot of the Patty's properties. I think he's that 403 South Monroe Street. That's a very interesting list of characters who have lived there.
Yeah, Jen P. Or no, Kayla. Kayla said it. I think Tyler French.
He totally looks like a sketch.
Yeah, Tyler French absolutely does. See, this is why I should have finished my PowerPoint. Tyler French does look like the young Bridge Guy, and his stepdad lived down the road.
Hey, Rafi, is that Dennis Spencer? Is that Chris Spencer? Is it? And the Patties own 403 South Monroe Street.
I thought of him when you had me listen to about Betsy Blair's testimony again, because Tyler French, because I thought he was good looking, young kid, and so it fit the description there.
Well, that young Bridge Guy sketch fits Garrett Kurtz, Tyler French, and Pearson. Daniel Pearson, by the way, you know, his dad, Scott Pearson, he was a retired Carroll County deputy. And everything about him just went away. Why
Wait, did you see what Big JD 420 said about that house with the brand new cement slab on for the back porch? That's interesting. Is it still black? I think it's weird that they painted it black.
Jen P wants to know if you can allow name tags so that they know who's on the panel.
Oh, I see. Okay, which house was that? Do you know, Kristen? Do you know Streets of Bakerfield? Do you know which house he's talking about that Cody lived in? Is that the one on Whiteman Drive?
No, Cody did live on Whiteman Drive, but he also has lived in this house in 403 South Monroe Street. The Patties owned it. I don't know if they still own it, but it's where David Jones lived and Bev Adams with Misty Adams. It's where a bunch of just like Huddleston has lived there. Just a bunch of last names, and it's just like, what's going on in that house? Like, why are all these people moving into this house? And when they say David Jones is one of the Wolfpack people, so when they say that one of the Wolfpacks lived in one of the Patty's houses, it's that one with Beverly Adams and Misty Adams. He was Misty Adams' boyfriend.
Mm. Uh-oh, hold on. We might have a visitor.
Woo woo.
Hey. I see you. Okay, so do you want to show your face? You're muted. So the person who's backstage, I don't know. I'm assuming her avatar is what she wants to show. So let's welcome Rhonda to the stage.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda.
Hey.
Hi, Amy, Cherie. Hi, you guys. You put the link up there, so I decided to jump in and say hello.
Hello.
How are you girls doing?
Good. How
We're
are
good.
you?
Good.
You're very quiet.
I am? That's unusual.
Oh, it's Rhonda. I know Rhonda.
Yeah, it's just Rhonda.
Just Rhonda. How are you?
Oh, I'm I think I'm okay. I'm super busy and tied up in my own channel and
Are you?
trying to make it. What's that?
Do you live in Delphi? I forgot. No, you don't
No.
live in Delphi.
No. I
Okay,
live in
you're
Utah.
okay.
Rhonda is she started off working with us on Ashley's case.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then she covers the Daniel Holtzclaw case, which
I
is
lived
another.
in Oklahoma when that was happening.
You did? Oh,
Uh-huh.
God.
Wow.
Did you know much about the case?
I saw it on the news a lot because I lived in McLeod, so I had Oklahoma City news. But I didn't follow it. I knew he was being accused of some pretty horrible things.
Yeah, he was. He accused of horrific things that he's not guilty of, but he's in prison for 263 years. So Cherie and I are doing our little part to try to show the lies and injustice and hopefully help
Oklahoma
him.
is really bad. I got serving a minor ticket, and I served a week and a half in jail. And they wanted their pound of flesh. I paid a whole bunch of shit and thought I got it dismissed. And then when I got my security clearance, they were like, no, you can't issue a security clearance because you owe them $6,000. And so
Jeez.
I had to
Yeah.
pay the $6,000 for them to clear me off of NCIC so I could get a secure clearance.
Wow.
Yeah, well, Cherie and I have been studying, literally studying and researching Oklahoma City for over 4 years now, and the corruption
It was really
and
bad.
it goes back years, and I have several videos, talking about Bob Macy, the DA, and
Mm-hmm.
um, Cherie and I read a book called Death and Justice by Mark Furman that's all about. I think the subtitle is Oklahoma's Killing Machine or something like that.
Yeah.
Just it's that book taught us so much. We got
Dude,
so
that
much
prairie
information.
justice is harsh. They want their pound of flesh.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. And
Can
telling
you
you,
turn
trying.
your self up somehow, Rhonda? The audience is
Yeah,
having
you're
trouble.
echoing. So turn off your YouTube. Just go on StreamYard.
I do have my YouTube off.
Oh.
Let me. Well, I don't have my headphones on. That could be part of the problem.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. Um, but anyway, yeah, sorry. And I wasn't really going to stay very long. I'm just for Cherie, for your information, I'm re-editing last night's video and cleaning it up a lot. And then probably by the end of the day today or tomorrow, I'm going to make last night's video for subscribers only, because it was fun. We had a blast, but it was really, really,
Low
really
rock.
bad. so I want to keep that information up. So I'm re-editing that right now, and then I'll upload that and then make last night's show for subs only. So, but yeah. And we reached, I, I don't hold a candle to Amy.
Oh, geez.
She made her channel and surpassed me with subscribers within a week.
Oh
So
my God.
you
So,
did, though. It's
okay,
true.
Cherie, drop Rhonda's link for her channel in my chat, please.
Okay.
Oh, it's well, but the point is, in the last, I kind of am part of a new community that I've been involved in for the last 6 or 8 months. And anyway, they've done a ton to support us. And so we went in the last 3 weeks, we've gone from 642 subs to this morning we got up to 697. I'm close to 700, not 1,000, just 700.
Oh, well,
And
I love you. I love you. And you were here when I first started covering Ashley's case and when I first started this channel. So you're always welcome
oh,
here.
well, and I used to be a team member or a manager in your StreamYard. I don't think I am anymore, which is fine. I don't know very much at all about Delphi, honestly. What little bit I do know, I don't know the opinions about everyone else here, and I don't really care what people think of my opinion. But what little bit I do know, or I have watched about the Delphi thing, I believe he is. I think they convicted a innocent man, just from what little bit I've seen and understand. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just my opinion, and that's based on very little knowledge. But I feel bad for him. I feel like what they're doing to Richard. I God, his last name just escaped my mind. But anyway,
Alan.
Richard Allen. I feel like what they are doing to him, what they have done to him, is criminal and horrifying. So I have a soft spot for people who I believe are wrongfully convicted, and I haven't gotten involved in his case, even though I feel like he's been wrongfully convicted, because there's so much information that I don't know, that I would have to go back so far to try to, learn about. Um, is it mine shine bright? I'm gonna jump out in just a minute so I won't, but I wanted to just come in and let Amy know I still love you. I miss you. Cherie is my soul twin sister, and I love you guys. And I just wanted to make sure you know, Amy, that I do still support you. And you know, I'm gonna always try to jump in or jump on and, you know, at least give a like and listen as much as I can to everything you're doing now. And I still believe in Ashley's innocence 100%. So
Thank you for that.
yeah, I love you guys. I'm gonna jump out now. Obviously, my audio is really bad. I think I have Shine Bright's losing her mind, so I'm gonna jump out.
Okay. Love you, girl.
I love you guys too. You guys have fun, and I'll talk to you later.
Okay, guys. That was Rhonda. Cherie, drop Rhonda's link in the chat. Just so you guys know that over the years, before I even started the channel, Cherie, Rhonda, and I were all, well, I was a silent member. I didn't have the courage to come forward, but we were all involved following the Stephen Avery case, Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. And Foul Play is an they're a group that follows the Stephen Avery case. And what they've done is they have basically over the years collected all the documents, transcripts, photographs, the dispatch calls, it's unreal the amount of evidence that they've been able to get their hands on over the years that they've put into a website. And so when you guys go back and you listen to Dr. Silkman, who's from Australia, who came on my channel, and I had him review the DNA analysis of Ashley's case. I met him through Foul Play. I met Cherie through Foul Play. Travis Williams I met through Foul Play. So that's why, and Rhonda, same place. So we have a little bit of a history. And if you're not familiar with the Daniel Holtzclaw case, he is a police officer who was charged with 13 counts?
Something like that. It was a lot.
Yeah, 13 counts.
There were 13 accusers, 36 charged. That he was found guilty on 18, and he got 236 years or 63. I'm not sure, one of those, but unreal amount.
So, yeah, Cherie, when you get a chance, drop Rhonda's channel in here because Cherie's over there working with her too. So I need one of you guys with strong opinions to click the link and come on up.
Oh, come on.
Tell us what you're thinking. Everybody, there's like 170 people in here and no one wants to come on and talk? What? That's crazy.
Could we try throwing some theories out there?
Yes,
Who
do it.
believes this one? Who believes that one? Like the current one that's the buzz is Ron Logan, of course, and Keegan Klein.
Oh, by the way, everybody, and if this pisses you off, make a phone call. By the way, so I got a text message, from Reese's family this morning that said, because I haven't heard from Reese for almost 5 days, and neither has the family. He's not called or anything. Well, he called this morning, and he said that no one's heard from him because he got moved to administrative segregation.
Which means he can't have a job.
He said the COs rolled in, stripped him down, and put him in a turtle suit, which is for suicide watch.
Suicide.
He's trying to find out why and who put the order in. He said
And
since he's
I would just like to say one thing. Working in the law library at a prison does not mean that you're trying to get money from being a jailhouse lawyer. Some people are so frickin' stupid. Sorry. I'm just throwing that out there. Made me so mad when I heard that.
so basically now he's saying that since he's out of the pod, that he's afraid Keegan is going to attempt to say anything, like trying to say that Reese was threatening him or denying everything that Reese says. I think that Reese's been in for a very long, he's been in for over 10 years, and he's probably somewhat well respected because he works in the law library. That with him in the pod, Keegan probably felt threatened. But now with him out of the pod, Keegan might try to, it's like high school, try to, work the crowd and get everybody believing his theory or his opinion or his story. But I just thought that I'm going to call up there to Newcastle to find out why they have taken him out of the pod and put him in solitary confinement. So I suggest that all of you listening, if this prison starts getting 20, 30 phone calls, it's going to become a problem for them. And that might need to be what happens. So. All right, guys, where are you at? I cannot believe we are live right now talking Delphi and no one wants to come up.
Do you think they did that because he reached out to the news?
Oh, yeah. They're trying to shut him up for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, because when him and when I first reached out to him, I didn't reach out to get information. It was basically to warn him, only because I have dealt, in Ashley's case for the past 2 years. I just reached out to warn him that he cannot tell his story to just anyone. And I knew he was going to start getting messages. I said, you have to be careful. Everyone is going to try to discredit you. And I don't know what your story is, but if you believe that what you're saying is truthful, you need to be careful. And, it took a couple of messages. I wasn't even asking, honestly, I have a message where he says, you haven't asked me. He said, I feel like I'm being nosy. You haven't asked me anything. And that was just because I just know that I know the situation that he's in. He doesn't have access to everyday media. He doesn't have access to the outside world to know what's going on in real time. And I wanted to let him know that, a lot of people, when it comes, especially with this case, when you start talking about inmates, that they're treated, like third-class citizens. They're
Tell him
liars.
not to accept any messages from Shane Cursage.
I've already told him. I've given him a list.
Okay.
But he started telling me things, and then he started asking, could I let people know? Because he really felt like at first, that his information was never going to be made public because the prosecutor had ignored him. And when the defense came out with his 2-paragraph statement, he was like, they're probably going to call me a liar and da 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 da. And he said, so can you please, and honestly, like one of his first requests were, can you please tell Abby's mom that I would never play a game like this and I would never lie about information that's not true. Um,
Can
so
Andy Baldwin do anything to protect him?
I don't know. They can't even protect Richard Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, they can't even protect Richard Allen. So I'm sure he's been moved. He's probably been taken away from his tablet. Um, if he's in
People are saying
solitary.
let the news know. I mean, and I think personally, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, Fox 59. Yeah, I should do that. That's a good idea. That is a really good idea.
I would say put it in their comments section, but it probably gets censored. Sorry, I'm a bitch.
Mm-mm. Okay, guys. Sleuthy, do you want to come up and run your and come on up, Sleuthy? Um, Indiana girl, come on up. I just dropped the link in the chat again. Rambo Bambo. I know you've got some stuff. Come on, girl.
Don't they have to pay for their TVs themselves? Do they give it back?
What's that?
No. Mama D was saying they took away his TV, and I know that my biological brother did time, and I put money on his book so he could get one of those like clear TVs from the commissary.
Mm-hmm.
So don't they pay? How can they confiscate? Yeah, I guess they can. But I was say, how can they confiscate shit you paid for?
Well, see, I don't
I mean, I'm from California. We're very liberal here, so I'm sure
they
that
I
that's a
know that
stupid
okay,
question in Indiana.
I know that with so for example, with where Reese what like the dorm that he was in, and it's kind of the same with Ashley's the Indiana women's prison. There she's in like a dorm setting, he's like in a dorm setting. Um and they have what they call a day room. And it's the mutual, that's the TV room, that's where you go to play cards, that's where you go to just kind of like sit back on a couch and relax. Now, I do know that so what happens is, now I don't know about Reese, but Reese says that Keegan Klein is in the day room all the time, that his fat ass is sitting in there all the time. And I know that at Ashley's prison, you can go in and out of the day room. It's obviously everything is restricted, like time wise. During count, they have to be back on their bunks during count. So, like, if she calls me from her tablet, she can be sitting on her bunk while they're doing count and talk on the phone. But it's horrible reception. You can barely hear her. But as far as the day room goes, it's my understanding that basically everybody puts in what they want to watch on the television and the majority wins. So let's say like the Super Bowl is on, or there is a, you know, series that everybody's in love with, like I don't know. Can't think of a name of one, but
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. If it's all done by time blocks and by majority votes. So she can want to watch something, but if she's outvoted, then she doesn't get to watch that. So, and I'm assuming it's probably kind of the same in the men's prisons too.
When
So,
I was in jail, that's what it was like. Well, I remember we watched BET every morning, the top 10 like countdown, and then they watch the news. They love watching the news. That's what I
Yeah.
remember about jail.
No, they do. No, they do like watching the news because they like to know what's going on in the world because it's constant. They feel like they're in the dark, and their
Yeah.
tablet doesn't like you. I think a lot of people think that these inmates have access to the internet, but they do not. They have access to music and they have access to audiobooks and to certain like podcasts, but it's all restricted. Nothing, there's like nothing real time, nothing um, true crime for sure. It's all educational, and the movies and the music that they have access to is old. I mean, since for the past, I know for the past 2 years, Ashley's tablet has not been updated once. And so she was like, don't ever put money on there because I don't use it. I've gone through every single thing that's available on there. And she's like, just don't waste your money.
That's depressing.
Yeah. 4 pits across America.
Fort Pitts is the man.
Well, I respect his stance of he's just all about facts and doesn't want to dive into the speculation. I appreciate that. I love that. And his knowledge in this case is invaluable. And I would love to have him come on, or I would love to have him at least speak to me over the phone and grace me with his knowledge. So I'm sure.
Big JG 420. Do you said that there was a basement in there and Cody took the basement out too? And then there's a new cement slab. Does he still live there? No. Where does he live now? So who lives there?
Where are you talking about?
This 403 South 403 South Monroe. It's there was a Reddit post about it, but that person was a little nutty. But like David Jones lived there when he was running from the cops with Beverly Adams and Missy Adams, and for some reason Mike and Becky uh, petitioned the court to like inherit her shit. Now I don't know if that's just like what was in the house because she died and they were on the run, if that was to lure them back to the house. I don't know, but for some reason they petitioned the court to inherit her shit, but it's like heirs of law or some shit. Like I don't know, you'll have to ask Michael Osbrook, but yeah, it's just that house is strange. And it's got a lot of people going in and out of it. They're interesting. The Mears own a lot of property around town too. They have their registered, well, Sherry, I don't know if it switched to George, but registered at a real estate, like I think rental thing. I don't know, but it's like Mears Real Estate or something.
Michael, you're being summoned by the chat to come up. I
Yes,
just
Michael,
dropped
come
a
on.
link for you.
Come on, Mike.
I am really like I am as far as theories go, like starting all over. I just feel
Yeah.
like I feel like the information that came out in the very beginning is probably um the most vital. Hi, Michael.
I want to know more about Talitha seeing dead
Hi.
people and like what her little weird beliefs are, because maybe they involve tarot cards.
They probably did. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
I'm never on when you're on, and so I'm a little verklempt right now. How are you?
Why, why are you verklempt?
I'm having a
I'm the one who should be.
little bit of celebrity sweats. I'm just joking.
Yeah, well, you're the celebrity. I mean, all you're the celebrities. You all are the ones who know stuff.
Oh my goodness. I wish I knew all the stuff. Is because every time I do a live, someone comes on and talks about something that I absolutely don't know about. And I feel like I've been around like in the background for years. And but there's still so many, it's like all these little rabbit holes. And especially I really like hearing from people who live there, who have had like interactions with the names and the people that are a part of this whole scenario. And that's why Four Pits is very,
Valuable.
very valuable. So the
Well,
court of public opinion is asking Sir Michael, what do we know about what do we know about Brady?
well, I really can't improve on Andrea Burkhart went over it really well in her life. I mean, I can tell you got to show three things. One, that the state suppressed evidence favorable to the accused, and favorable evidence also, I mean, it can be, directly exculpatory evidence, but it can also be evidence that impeaches witnesses.
So
Um,
I just popped on the screen. This is out of this is from the Indiana the judicial page. It says Brady violation. A Brady violation in Indiana occurs when the state suppresses evidence that is favorable to the accused. This can happen in criminal cases. Elements of a Brady violation: the evidence was favorable to the accused. The state suppressed the evidence either intentionally or accidentally. The suppression of the evidence resulted in prejudice. How to prove a Brady violation? Hold on, I gotta switch this over because I got a comment blocking it. So it says how to prove a Brady. Oh, la, 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 la. Hold on, let me get back there. Hold on, my laptop is doing its own thing, guys, again.
So they bought it from urban development, which means they bought it during like the whole like let's get meth out of our city, and then they and then they let their meth head son move it. That's awesome. Sorry, I have opinions. Most people don't like them.
Okay, so it says now I took this straight out of the I forget the name of it now, the Indiana judicial website.
yeah, well, what can I tell you? Dave Hennessy did the same thing, giving Judge Gall the Indiana State Court Administration bench card for how you handle contempt cases, and which really didn't say anything different than what was said in the motion for summary denial of the contempt information. And she ignored that too. So what can I tell you?
I mean,
Look, we don't have all the facts yet. We don't know we don't know what the letters say. I mean, I assume they say the same thing, but I saw somebody on Twitter saying, you know, Nick McClellan should be immediately disbarred. That goes slowly. I mean, we don't have the facts. I really, slinging mud, especially ethical mud. Me having been the victim of some unfounded stuff. Let's wait to get the facts before we start trying to put people's heads on pikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the whole, I mean, I had the whole Brady violation, all the rules and the possibilities for the consequences and all of that ready to go for the other night. But we just got, sidetracked. And
Well, and the, I think the thing I think people maybe need to understand is the first two parts. The evidence is favorable and that the state suppressed it. The prosecutor doesn't even have to know about it. If law enforcement has it and doesn't, the prosecutor is charged with knowledge of what the law enforcement folks have. So it doesn't matter even whether the prosecutor knew, as long as the state had it.
right.
But the
And
place
that's no
that
different. That's no different. I mean, that's no different than, with the discovery being sent over in the chaotic state that it was, saying that, the defense didn't use this, so now they've lost their chance. Like about the white van.
yeah, but the claim for that is so. The claim for that's a little different. It's not Brady. It's NAFOE, and NAFOE is different. It's that, and there may be an argument to be had about the claim. I'm not saying any of this is a laydown. This to the point says it's all alleged, and here we go. A NAFU claim is a considerable degree worse than a Brady claim. It's that the prosecution let testimony it knew was false, and I mean a lot of the cases deal with perjury by witnesses, but it doesn't have to be perjury. It just has to be false or misleading. And if they let it go uncorrected and they know that it's wrong, then the standard for reversal is much lower. It only has to have any reasonable probability that the false evidence, false testimony affected the verdict. And maybe a really clear-cut example I thought of, not from a case, just a sort of law school kind of hypothetical, is imagine a robbery. And the prosecutor has a witness who IDs the defendant in court, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say there's a videotape, and the witness who IDs the defendant is doing so in complete good faith, absolutely believes it was the defendant. But the prosecutor has a videotape of the robbery showing that somebody who looks very much like the defendant did it, but you could also tell that it was not the defendant. Prosecutor doesn't get to put that ID witness on without correcting the testimony.
Mm-hmm.
So the standard for Brady violation is a little different. It's not just a reasonable probability that the false evidence affected the verdict. Is there a reasonable probability of a different result had the defense had that information? And so, yeah, go ahead.
How does that align with, because to me, not having that information is in front of the jury is really no different than not being allowed to present a third party suspect. Like they limited them everything. They had nothing to work with when they had an overwhelming amount of evidence pointing in other directions stronger than Rick Allen. How do you feel about It's not
So
Brady.
they had the third party hearing, and as you know, Andrea Burkhart said, the judge, after the 3 days of hearings in the end of July, beginning of August, you know, the ruling on the third party stuff was entirely preliminary. And yeah, if they'd had the letters, if the letters exist, and the letters say what Reese Davis says they say, if the defense had had those, they could have renewed their motion to put on third party evidence about both Keegan Klein and Ron Logan. And who knows, their investigation might have turned up the third person too. And that might have made, and then you have to make the calculation, I guess, whether the third party evidence, had it come in, ended in a different result. Is there a reasonable probability? And reasonable probability, the Supreme Court has said, it's not more than 50%, but it's not a lot different than a preponderance of the evidence. I think most court treat it as a little lower. There was a case from the Seventh Circuit that I loved for a long time, and that the Seventh Circuit even now still occasionally cites, but it's the wrong standard after a later case by the Supreme Court where the Seventh Circuit said that a reasonable probability of a different result is a non-negligible chance. But that's not the current law. It wasn't really even the law then. That was when you're doing this, you're looking for the language that best helps you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing. You have to realize that for all these things, so the Supreme Court comes up with this rule, a reasonable probability of a different result. I mean, there are glosses for that. Nick McClelland, in his response to the motion to correct error, talks about, I don't think he cites any cases, but he uses some language that comes out of case. I mean, I recognize it's coming out of cases. I don't know why he didn't cite them. About the definition of critical stage. And he picked the cases with the best gloss on what a critical stage means for him, and I picked the case with the best gloss on critical stage, for Rick. And that'll have to be fought out with the Court of Appeals if the appellate lawyers choose to use the chronic issue.
What part of the court system has to get that ball rolling, or is it Judge Goal?
Well, Brady stuff is probably not going to be available in the direct appeal.
Mm-hmm.
The motion to correct error was filed. It doesn't have the Brady stuff in it. I can think of a few sort of fancy dance steps that might be able to be done, but it would probably involve, the Court of Appeals sending it back for a hearing on the Brady stuff.
Is there any accountability for Nick McClelland outside of the appeal? Or is it just in the appeal? As far as like what he did, as far as not telling him about the letters and opening the door to the box cutters and stuff, is there any recourse, or is it just he's a douche and that's it?
Well, I mean, there are various levels of accountability. All the way down to his license. I mean, there are elections that people could, unelect him because he did this, or they could, my sense is they'll elect him by an overwhelming landslide because he did this, if he did it.
Yeah. If you listen to the Patty interview, Holman patted him on the back and was like, "I'm glad you pulled this off." Like they love him. He's the darling.
Well, I was in Teresa's chat. I mean, it turned in. Everybody got a little punch drunk at the end of Teresa's live, I think.
That was funny though.
It was hilarious.
Well,
But look at it this way. If you supporting the narrative that the Patties were obviously supporting, in that narrative, everybody's a hero. Everybody.
yeah,
And if you go against that narrative, suddenly you're turning current heroes into villains.
yeah,
And you got to live there.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they play that victim
And
card real well.
well, I mean, I'm sorry, their interview was so untethered to anything like reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I watched that last night for the first time. I actually watched it on
Criminality.
yeah, I watched it on Criminality last night for the
So did
first
I.
time, and that was very strange. I personally, this is my opinion, I felt like there's a complete disconnect between Becky and him, that they're not on the same page for
She
whatever
looks like she
reason.
hates him. Did you see it at the when they announced at the press? I think it was the arrest. Did you see the way she was looking at him? She effing hates him. Like I don't know. There's
I
rumors
don't know.
about his infidelity.
I just wonder if now, with all of this stuff, especially after the trial, that she's going, I'm sorry, but loyalty only goes so far. And Libby is her granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Patty is not Libby's biological grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's her granddaughter. And I'm sorry, but there is no way, I don't care, prosecutor, not prosecutor. Once you have proven to me that you're incompetent, or I'm not getting the full story, or I'm seeing all of these holes being poked in your story and your theory, I'm going to hold you accountable because I want answers. I
Yeah.
want the truth. What happened? It's no, a grandchild really is no different than your own child.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would be on hiatus.
I still want to hear what Carrie has to say.
Yeah, I
you
would love
know,
to hear what Carrie has to say.
what did she have to say?
Well, I would love to hear what she has to say, but at the end of the trial, she made a comment to the effect of, "I hope he puts me on his visitors list." I think she wants to know the real story from his mouth.
Okay, wait a minute. Indiana girl just said, okay, story is he was caught cheating or almost cheating on her since the murders. Are you, Indiana girl? Are you talking about Mike Patty?
I've heard that too. I mean, I've never really paid attention to it because I'm sure everybody's sleeping with everybody in that small town. But I've heard that. But I mean, you never know. Men cheat all the time.
Oh, I see in the comments. Yeah, you can put my email address out there. I mean, it's publicly available. I mean, everything I ever filed. It's not doxing me. This email I
Okay,
use
I
for
didn't
my
know. I
law
didn't know.
practice.
Yeah,
No,
four pit.
thank you for asking. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that my email address is no secret. At least that email address.
okay. I will drop it then because I didn't want to put you on Front Street.
The other thing is, as long as we're here and talking about email addresses, uh, Christine gave the wrong email address for the email tip repository, and it's Delphi tip mail at gmail.com, all one word. We're looking into setting up a phone tip line. Terrible to have to do things the state never did. But no, I mean, if I did, look, my best friend in the world was almost 30 years ago murdered in Poland. The guy got 12 years. He,
Wait, what? Now say that again.
I said my best friend was murdered in Poland and
Poland, okay.
stabbed to death in his apartment. The guy got 12 years, but and actually he kind of escaped from jail, and it took him 4 years to hunt him down before he had to do the 12 years. I mean, I guess I understand people are different. For me, it really doesn't matter what happens to him. I think he ought to be gotten off the street because he's dangerous, but it's not like closure or anything else. I mean, 10 days ago would have been my friend's 70th birthday. And this idea of closure. Look, if I'd been the Patties, I'd be saying, there's no closure for us. We're happy the trial's over. The legal system will sort this all out, and we really don't have anything else to say. I wouldn't be saying justice was done. I wouldn't be saying anything.
And in the interview, they kept blaming the defense for the crime scene photos being leaked, but didn't have one, and then got mad at the defense attorneys for protecting the court from the video of Richard Allen in prison, but didn't hold Nick McClelland accountable for he could have made the decision not to show those pictures to the entire court and let people make sketches of them. You know what I mean? It's just lack of accountability is an issue.
Look, they're gonna say what they say. I mean, if I remember correctly, they were saying that Rick Allen was following the state line. Rick Allen was being treated better than other prisoners, and that and I think Mike Patty in his head has it that Rick Allen was already a convict, and so convicts aren't treated very well. He said, I mean, I think that's literally what he said.
He said convicted. He said convicted.
Yeah.
And he wasn't convicted.
Right. And fine. I mean, they're upset. They're on the spot, and maybe they're misspeaking. I don't know. Maybe that's really what's in his head, and they're just thinking about it. Right. I'm just telling you that. And I think a lot of people here probably had the same impression. It was just untethered to reality.
It's a disconnect. I truly believe there's an emotional disconnect between them and Libby, because there's no way that you could be satisfied after 7 years for this.
Yeah, if satisfaction is what's important to you, I suppose. I mean,
No.
and that's.
I'm sorry, but a loved one, it's an emotional. It's emotional. I would lose. Maybe I'm just over emotional. I don't know, but after 7 years of wanting answers and 7 years of investigation with, Unified Command, Carroll County, ISP, FBI. This is what you got at this trial?
Nothing. I mean,
I would have lost my shit.
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of people in the lynch mob, and I think they're clearly part of the lynch mob. I mean, why would you even do any interview? I mean, it's why are you doing the victory lap? I mean, why give any interview at all?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the lynch mob hangs their hat on what they call 61 confessions. And, for me, 61 confessions are a lot. And I don't think there were 61, but that's Harshman's number and his characterization.
Didn't he also confess to starting World War III and cheating on cigarettes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and
and
shooting the girls in the back and burying them in a shallow grave, and that he killed his entire family and he
The
killed his
bullets in the wrong place.
yeah, I mean, it's they when I hear Mike Patty in that interview say what he confessed to killing the girls. That's all he confessed to. I killed the girls. I killed the girls.
Can I come back later?
Huh?
What?
I gotta get off for a minute. Sorry.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, jump back on when you can.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
I have been in an ambulance with some pretty crazy people on psych holds, taking them to the hospital. I've had people confess to killing Marilyn Monroe. I had someone confess to killing George Bush while he was still alive. Like, you put someone, and some of these people weren't like crazy homeless drug addicts off the street. They were just people in the middle of a psychotic breakdown. And I just, has he confessed in a lucid way, like on a lie detector or in an interview, or is he just eating his shit and saying that he shot girls in the back who were stabbed? Like, that's
I just think that he was, I think that
context
he was,
matters.
I think he was out of his gourd, and I think that you know, under the circumstances, there are people, Elvis Fields, who have confessed without
Anthony
being,
Greeno confessed twice to this murder, and he's a better suspect than Richard Allen.
and yeah, I mean, they weren't under, they weren't in solitary confinement. They weren't being injected against their will with Haldol. They weren't. They The circumstances are insane. And when you hear Mike Patty say, "Well, he confessed," well, you don't hear him elaborating under those circumstances that he confessed. And I'm telling you, when the link is in the chat, guys,
Thank you for
and
whoever gifted the 20 memberships.
Michelle N, I told her thank you. I know that's nice.
you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I wish somebody would come up, just join the conversation. That's what we're here for today. But I can tell you that they don't. So the Metropolitan Police Department that I worked for, there was it's called a 16B on our 10 code, that a 16B was a mental issue, meaning mental health. And the the amount of calls that we got. So I'm going to give you an example, and this is kind of it's funny to me after working there for so long. So you go through, once you go, I went through 20 weeks of training. And when you graduate from training, you get assigned a coach, and you have to go through 3 weeks of coaching on each shift, first, second, and third. So 3 weeks on each shift with a different coach. And by the time I was in my third stage of coaching, by that point in time, I was being allowed to take 911 calls. And so basically, instead of my coach taking the call and me watching, I'm now in the hot seat and I'm taking the calls and typing stuff in, and she's listening. So I get this, huh?
You're being shadowed.
Yeah, I was being shadowed at this point.
Yeah.
So one of the first big, to me, like one of the first big eye openers for me was a call that I took. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was a 911 call. And this person was completely coherent, completely.
Oh yeah.
His so and I I answer the call, and he is like, and like emphatic. Okay, I need to report my cars are stolen. I said, your cars? More than one? He said, absolutely. He said, so he's naming these cars. He had a Lamborghini. I can't remember. They were like high end cars. And my coach is laughing. She's like laughing, like with her hand over her mouth. And I'm like writing this out like on the screen. And he goes through all the detail. I'm doing colors of the car, where the cars are located. They were in the parking lot of where he lived. And so after I get everything done, um, I asked him again. I said, "So you had?" I said, "These cars, were they like in the parking lot? Were they covered with, because these are like a Lamborghini?" And he sounded like somebody who was like sophisticated. And I said, "So were they all three parked together and stolen?" Or and he goes, "No, they were in my nightstand drawer."
I'm telling you, that shit happens all the
And
time.
I was like, "What? Oh my God." And then she started laughing and she was like, she's like, "You'll get very familiar with the address." And the address was the mental hospital out on West Broad Street. And she's like, "It doesn't say mental hospital when it pops up in the queue."
It
But I
just
was
uses the
like,
address. Yeah.
it was hilarious. I just, first of all, I felt like an asshole, but it is what it is. But I mean, it's a
People are
real
crazy,
issue.
man. I don't, sometimes I just don't think some of these lynch mob people, I don't think that they have had a lot of interaction with like the public. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody is Donna Sue Bailey, who lives next door and has lived on that farm for the past like 500 fucking years and like married her high school sweetheart and had 5 boys who all work. You know what I mean? Like, the world isn't like that. People are crazy. People lie. People connive. I don't trust anybody. You know, I don't
So
know.
T Dub, aka Cecil, says that he can barely hear Streets of Bakerfield.
Ah, sorry. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry. I don't know.
Trial junkie. Reese, yes, Reese is pissed off. And when I first started communicating with him, he was really frustrated. He was like, I just really feel like I don't need to be involved in this. They're not listening, and I'm not trying to make myself out to be, a liar. And just the communication. He started, talking about the fact that he had children, and he wanted Anna to know that he would never lie about this. And I think I had said to him, "Look, you only you're the only one in your shoes. You're the only person who can tell what you were told." I 100% believe that Reese was told these things. Reese cannot control what he was told. But the fact that he's sharing it is really important. And clearly, it was obviously completely disregarded in the very beginning of this case, because he came out and in May, it was May 2017 that he came forward with this. And what'd she say? Um, someone asked if Reese, Jenny said, "Is Reese single? He's got quite the growing female fan club."
He is pretty hot.
Um, I think so. I don't think he's married. I know he has a son in the military and he has a daughter. He might have two daughters. I'm not sure. Um, as far as I know, um, he's single and he's like I'm telling you, like if you ever communicate with him, he is the funniest person ever. He really is. He's truly naturally funny. And he calls me brat, and I don't know where that came from, but it's brat or meanness. Like I don't know why. So all of his messages are titled "Hey brat" or "Hey meanness." I don't know why, but he likes to draw, and he's really good at portraits. So I sent him a picture of my Yorkie. Like it was like a really good picture of her like sitting on a porch and her hair was done and she had a little bow in. And he said, "Okay, that's my dog now. I'm taking her. I get her on the weekends and I'll pay puppy support." And I'm like, what? He's funny and he's just funny. So if you get the chance to communicate with him, you'll see what I mean.
My days of tattooed boys are over, but he is pretty hot.
You think? Yeah, I think a lot of he's a tattoo artist, by the way. That is his goal when he gets out, is to open his own studio.
Speaking of Derek not getting in time, have you ever seen? I took a screenshot of it. Hold on. Can you still hear me when I'm doing my pictures?
Chilo, he said I'm gonna make it worse. I don't listen, he's a good guy. I mean, Reese is a good guy. He really is. Um, he's well-rounded, he's very thoughtful, and it's unfortunate that, the charges that he got had see, he's only in there for 50 years for enhancements. He's already served. And really, to be honest, the 10 years that he served for the drug charges are not even legitimate charges. He called 911 on himself because he was high. He knew he had a problem and he basically said, "Come get me. I need help." Yada, yada, yada. He was okay, Fig. I see you, girl. You can, hi. I will, I don't know if you want to show yourself. There you go. Give me 1 second. Let me finish this and I'm going to bring you on. So, um, the reason he got the enhancements on his case,
Youth Center.
ACV, I would love for you to come up. How are you at work? It's President's Day. But they said that the church down the street that sometimes hosted a youth program put him within 1,000 feet of a school or a youth organization. And then there was also a YMCA in the vicinity. So the house that he was at wasn't even his house. It was a house, he was a roommate there. Long story short, he got 50 years. And his case now is to the point where he's exhausted all of his free legal assistances, and he's going pro se. He's been working on his case for several years, and he's ready to file a motion. There's been someone who's come forward about the addresses that were used in his case that basically one of the addresses was falsified, as far as they lied about the actual physical address to put it within less than 1,000 feet. And someone's come forward to him that he's tracked down, and he's using that as new evidence. So anyway, hopefully he can get some relief, and he's going to send us his paperwork, and Cherie and Michael Cherie's going to type it out for him because they don't have access to computers and typewriters in prison. So Cherie's going to do all of the legal writing for him. based off of his filing, and I know that Michael wants to help on it. So hopefully that'll make a difference, and the court will show him some relief. Fig is on here. Fig is it fair? How do you say that? Is it? How do you? Hey, Fig. How do you say your last name, or how do you say your second name?
Fairy.
Fairy.
I'm not Fig, but it's Fig Fairy.
Oh, where'd she go? Did we lose her?
I don't know. I think she changed her name. She was talking about changing her name earlier.
I don't know. She might come back. Fig,
She
if you're
said
out
she,
there, come back. We might have lost you.
she said she
Um,
booted herself out. Maybe. Are you going to boot yourself back in?
I'm not. I'm not doing any. My mic is bad. Is it really? Do you have trouble hearing me?
I hear you fine most of the time, but every once in a while you get low. But
Hey, drop the link again.
Okay.
People say we keep cutting out real bad, but it's always an issue.
Well, I have the microphone 2 inches from my mouth. I don't
You
know how.
sound fine to me. I haven't heard anything. Sorry, I'm eating apples and caramel. A healthy snack. Oh, except the caramel part.
That's half of what you're eating. Hey, Fig.
I'm so sorry. Hi. I'm so
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. What? How do you say? What is the second part of your name? Fig. What?
It's just fairy spelled weird.
Fairy. Okay. What's up?
I I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about Jamie Shank, I guess. So I she says that Ron Logan couldn't possibly be involved because she visited the property as a child to like ride horses or something. But that only makes that more credible that he like invited the girls to look at bunnies. That angle.
Well, it also goes to the fact that Reese Davis says there's another victim out there that was 11 years old at the time, back in 2017, who Logan was afraid was going to come forward after all of this, that he had done inappropriate things with. And this 11-year-old used to come to the property and help brush the horses and help feed and take care of the horses.
And specifically, like she said, because nothing ever happened with her, but how predators do this too. The doctor in my hometown was convicted and like victimized a lot of people. Like children, sorry. My brain is a scrambled egg. I'm recovering from like brain damage.
Okay.
They what they do is a lot of the times they'll have somebody that isn't safe to victimize, so they'll use them as a lure to like lure in other kids that they can victimize.
Yeah, they have a lot of angles. I mean, they really do.
I mean, are you going to victimize the daughter of the social services person in town? I don't think so. And are you going to let her, and does that give you more credibility that she was around you and you didn't victimize her? And like that, now you're like, well, look, Shank's daughter was here. I didn't do anything to her. She's, blah, blah, blah.
What I want to know is if she was encouraged onto his property, like to go onto his property alone, or if she was ever encouraged by him to bring friends. Because that's like straight out of the playbook.
Well, I would love for this, if there's a girl, she would probably be 18 now. I would love for her to come forward if
Oh,
if
yeah.
she or anyone, anyone in the area. Which I mean, it's ridiculous to think that we would even have to ask that. They should have came forward by now at least. But the
But it's also
way
like, why wouldn't they come forward as well?
exactly,
Like,
and there's a
not
lot of reasons.
there's so many reasons.
There's a lot
Like,
of reasons why they don't come forward.
hmm apart from like the fuckery going on with law enforcement in this case, like we don't know how far McClellan's involvement goes, or if it's there.
Evil Alaska, yes, you can mail Reese a letter. If you go to the Newcastle prison website, for those of you who are wanting to write him, writing him is probably the best way right now because they're in the process of switching over these apps that they're using. So it's definitely become an issue as far as the time, it's taking 5, 6, 7 days. But if you want to write him, if you go to the website, I don't have the address handy, but Reese Davis's inmate number is 114-393. 114-393. So if you write him, you just need the prison address, his name, and his inmate number. So sorry, go ahead, Fig.
I think that's all I had to say. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And you definitely have a good point there as far as her being like she's officially trying to make herself the spokesperson to defend Ron Logan. And a lot of the locals that I have talked to never really had a great they don't have a good memory of him. I know that he was obviously he was a drinker, but but everybody that I've spoken to, and these are like lifetime Delphi residents, they said that he would get drunk in the bars and he would become very aggressive. So, and I mean, he was a big man. He wasn't little. He was a big man. So, that with alcohol, I'm sure, was very intimidating for a lot of people.
I
What I want
also
to know
want
is
to say,
why do oh go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. There are a lot of people who are interested in Jamie Shank's books. I narrate my own romance novels and would love to I'm looking into buying one. There's a heavy overlap between like what is it, gender essentialist romances or like very traditional conservative romances and like Nazism, but also I don't know how to explain it. I'm so sorry.
Hold on. SH Boogies, show me your face. Go ahead, Fig.
But I would love to hop on anyone's stream and help like narrate little segments or anything like that. I narrate my own books. So, woohoo.
Sounds cool.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Fig.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Boogies, I don't know if you want to show your face or if you want to turn your camera off. It's up to you. There you go. Hey,
Hey,
Boogies. How are you?
hey, I'm so good. Thank you for letting me up. That's awesome to talk to a bunch of people who know what they're talking about. I had a quick question. I've asked this before and no one really knew, but I'm wondering if someone here does. Have we ever made a connection between Ron Logan and Brad Holder knowing each other? Well,
There are some people who are convinced of it, but I've never seen proof of it.
yeah, because I keep seeing rumors that like Brad Holder was staying with him around this time.
I've heard that. I've heard that there was a pig roast. I don't know what they do out there, but something about cooking a pig, and at Ron Logan's, and it was for some like what was that thing that you sent me, Amy? Like
Um,
Indiana Warriors or something, a
no,
militia,
Is it Indiana Hellhounds?
something like that. Yeah.
There was supposedly, now I've heard two different versions. I've heard that there was something that went on the weekend of the 10th and the 11th,
Yeah.
the 2 days before, the Monday that this happened to the girls. So I heard that there was like some sort of a huge bash there. Then I have also been told that there was a 2-day retreat on Logan's property, um, while Logan was in prison. So I sent a couple emails because I'm feeling like that needed to be looked into, because I would only imagine that if somebody was using his property for such a thing, they were probably in communication with him while he was in prison, and all of those phone calls are recorded. The tablets, the messaging can still be retrieved. So,
While in prison for after Abby and Libby.
yes, while he was in prison after Abby and Libby. And then I've also been told that Garrett Kurtz was taking care of some of the animals on the farm. And,
I've
you know,
always heard
as
it was the son. I've always heard it was Ryan Logan. Because
see,
I know that there
I've
were
heard it.
people.
I've been told that it was Garrett, and I've asked Ashley, because Garrett Ashley came back from Florida, um, closer to 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked her from the time that her and Garrett reunited to March of 2019, what was she ever aware of him being over there? And she said no. She herself has never met. She has never been to the property, and she never met Ron Logan, but she knew that Garrett knew him because Garrett had talked about him.
And then, yeah, there was a thing when Garrett very first got arrested with Gray Hughes, was like, Garrett doesn't know Ron Logan, da, da, da. And there was a horse on Garrett's Facebook that was at Ron Logan's property. They matched the.
No, Garrett absolutely. I mean, Garrett's told me himself that Ron Logan was a friend of his family. Like Garrett's parents, Garrett's dad and grandfather were avid hunters, and they hunted not only with Ron Logan, but they also hunted and stuff with Nick McClelland and Nick McClelland's dad and family.
I heard Garrett's dad is a psychopath.
A little bit.
What's
So-
his
So I
deal?
guess I have like a hard on for Brad Holder right now, basically, and I can't get rid of it. It's insane to me that all those images he had, and now someone was kind enough to send me that image of the two girls with the long, large stick over their bodies. How do you look at that and not think this is our guy? He's involved in some aspect. I just don't understand.
Well, there's also the whole Huddleston, Brandy Vale fire Daniel Hite connection. That's kind of have you heard that story?
I have not, do tell.
So Levi Holder put out a Facebook fundraiser for his family, which was it was John Huddleston, George Huddleston, I forget, and then his wife Sheila, her daughter Brandy Vale, her 3 children, which the youngest was 1 month old, and then it's Huddleston's 10-year-old daughter. They died. 2 of them got out. They died in a house fire, and when they went to go tell the father of the 3 kids, Daniel Hite, they found him dead at his father's house in Flora. And they're related to Brad Holder. His son is the one who put up the family Facebook fundraiser.
And Flora, wow.
Well, the fire happened in Logansport, but when they went to go alert the father of the 3 kids who had died, he was dead at his father's house in Flora on Lincoln or something.
This
So,
just
yeah.
must be the town where everything that's a coincidence just happens to happen all the time.
And then there's always talk about Derek German and a dirt bike track and dirt bike meth. I don't know what that means. But Daniel Height's email address was like BMX Chaos or something, and he was really into dirt bikes. So
So is Cody.
Yeah. But I don't think BMX, I don't think like uh motor dirt bikes. I think like bicycle bikes. Like BMX, like X Games back when it was like cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm trying to pull up, let me see here, the photo. Let me see if I can do it. God, when I get my new laptop, I will be able to do, I owned a business for 16 years and I did a lot of video editing, all kinds of crap. And when I got divorced and ended up closing my last location on my business, I bought a laptop. This was 10 years ago. So my laptop is 10 years old. It's seen some crap. When I get my new one, I'm going to make sure I can do all the good stuff on there. So if you don't like okay, really quick, in the chat, do you guys like the PowerPoints that I do, or is that just ridiculous? Type 1 for you like, type 2 for you hate. Okay, go ahead, SH Boogies and Streets of Bakerfield.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, go ahead with your conversation. I'm trying to pull up this photo that I have of Brad Holder that I was sent by, what is her name?
Oh,
Bambo.
where it was supposedly, is it the one where it's with Ron Logan?
Yeah.
That's not Ron Logan. That
I'm
dude's
not, I'm
shoulders
not,
aren't
I'm
big
not
enough.
convinced that it is either, but
He's not big enough to be Ron Logan.
so what is your, I mean, what is your hard on for Brad Holder, right? I mean, I know you
Oh, I'm
said
sorry.
a
So,
little bit.
no, my hard on, I was just saying is, I mean, I was a little taken aback by the whole Logan Keegan Klein connection, hearing that from Richie, hearing that they possibly worked together. That was odd to me. I didn't know there was any relation between them, but I've just always kind of am dead set that Brad Holder was involved at some point because he's the only one that's has near identical. I mean, that image of the crime scene is near identical to the one I just received that he had on his Facebook. I
But
would have
yeah,
arrested him the second I saw that image.
okay, but the
Granted,
thing
that's
is
probably not
that
legal.
I believe the replica, that actual image was actually posted in 2012. It wasn't after the murders, it wasn't right before. It was in 2000, I mean, in 2012. That doesn't make it irrelevant, but it doesn't make it very material either. That's the issue
I
with
think
that.
in
However,
combination, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. You're
I was
good.
just going to say, I just, in combination with that being years prior, which is odd, but then the crime scene looking near identical, and then him also posting everything else we've all seen, then right before and right after, and the whole inconsistent alibi. And I just wanted to get on here and say, like, I really think this guy had something to do with it, and everyone's talking about Logan and Keegan Klein, but I still think some focus needs to be put on Brad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was more just like a comment, and thank you for letting me up here. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to come on? So I mean, seriously, like there's several serious groups of people that you can look at in this case that, well, no one outside of Rick Allen was ever mentioned in trial. but you've got the Odinist group, the Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Johnny Messer, Elvis Fields.
Have you
Then
ever
you've
looked
got,
up Johnny Messer?
yeah, I have.
He is just, oh, he's just trash. Like, he's just trash.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then you've got um, the whole, from the very beginning, the whole group that Tina Rodell and then we're speaking about, the Tyler French, the Gabe Ellis, Megan Allen, the what's his name, Keegan Callis, and Jeff Reagan that were all out there that day supposedly. They actually, let me check myself. They weren't out there that day. They were out there the day before and camped out overnight.
that's what I heard too.
Yeah, they camped out overnight, supposedly making meth. And so there's that group. Then you've got Keegan and Tony Klein. Then you've got, and to me, the Paladinos are another group that a lot, like the fact that that group has ran under the radar is insane to me.
Well, on February 22nd, 2017, CJ Palladino posted to his Facebook, "Don't fear me for who I am, fear me for what I'm capable of."
Mhm.
And then ran off to California.
Yeah. And I mean, I can, like, I can do a live and I can spend all night talking about them and showing not only Facebook messages, but people who have contacted me who have dealt with them directly and have said that immediately after February 14th, they all took off.
That's why I want to know about Talisa's interest in seeing dead people. I want to know how far she takes that with the weird shit at the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always felt like if it was a group of people, there was a girl involved, especially with the staging. Because dudes don't know about like the hangman's tarot. I mean, maybe someone like Brad Holder would, but tarot is usually a chick thing. You go on YouTube, tarot channels, it's mainly girls. I just always felt like there could be a girl involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can't, you have to admit that there's a girl involved based on the the female hair found at the crime scene. And
Yeah.
I think that there was several different people's hair, female wise there. But what the one thing that they didn't specify about the crime scene was the male DNA on each of the girls were was the DNA on both girls all the same, or was there different? They didn't label it like male one, male two, male three, like they did the hair. Then on top of that, we've heard forever that there were animal hairs on the girls.
Yeah.
And I want to know, did anyone ever look
Test
into
those
the
hair.
fact that it was possibly rabbit hair?
Oh, yeah.
Ron Logan bred rabbits in his barn.
So what I want to know is, so I don't know if you remember the stripper, Jalen Rain or whatever, and
You're talking about Judge Fouts?
yeah, one of the things she was saying about him was he was a defense, like what the person was saying. I can't remember if it was in that scroll or something, but it was that he was a defense attorney, and we thought that he was going to, um, help us out, blah, 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 but he's not. He's just putting everybody in jail. That was after the Ron Logan thing, I think. And then I don't know if you ever heard about it, but during the time when it happened, it was kind of a big deal. Ron Logan said to Fouts at the end of his trial, like, "I didn't know two dead girls were going to turn up on my property." And like the way he said it to him, like people were like, "What the fuck was that?" And I don't know. I just think it's dirty all around. And then Fouts and Diener's wife are the one that came up with CASA, and then Thompson came up with CASA in White County, and now they're the same thing. CASA, I think White and Carroll County have the same CASA program, and there was a girl, I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was a girl who came on. I don't remember she came on, and she was talking, and she said she was a kid who was in CASA, and that like Fouts had groomed her and like came to her house or something in Illinois and followed with her mom, and then they stopped talking about it. I don't know, but it was just really weird. Like they're grooming kids in CASA, or I don't know. It was a whole
Indiana
big thing.
Indiana girl. Yes, they supposedly camped out on the 12th. I need to do a whole live on it. Um as far because I have screenshots. A lot of it came from Delphi Docs back in the day. So now I got to pull all of that stuff out and put it in new folders. But Tina Rodell's daughter, Megan Allen, was picked up on the 12th in a white they pulled in a white car, and her mother thought they were acting strange enough for her to write down the license plate number, and the license plate was a paper plate. And it turned out supposedly that this paper plate was expired from, it was from Kokomo. But Megan Allen left with them on the 12th, and they went to Tyler French's stepdad's house originally, which is about a mile and a half down the street from the bridge. And he had trail cams. I'm told that the trail cams were collected, and it does show that the kids were there, and it was Keegan Callis, Tyler French, Jeff Reagan, Megan Allen, and they went over to the bridge or to the trails. They camped out for the night into the morning of the 13th. And during the night, they were cooking meth. And so that was on the 12th. Megan Allen did not return home until the 15th. And when she returned home, her mother said she was not in good shape. She was strung out. She was coming off of a meth high. And she said that
There were earrings.
there were earrings in her pocket, and they didn't belong to Megan. She wanted to know who they belonged to. So that was just one of the original chaotic stories. And then you've got the Paladinos, which kind of tie into, the Cheyenne. Cheyenne's husband was Chase Ingalls at the time.
What I want to know is if Cheyenne's on that bridge at 3 o'clock and those girls are being killed across the creek, how did she didn't hear anything? Nothing?
No, no,
What?
no, she heard nothing. But the thing is that, see, this whole thing, like this Tina Rodell, and I mean, I know it's old news, but I think there's a lot of new people following the case now who aren't aware of it. But the Tina Rodell story and the Cheyenne situation, I could probably put together because it's kind of like all within the same 24-hour period. But Cheyenne, who was at the bridge, took photographs on the bridge around 3 o'clock and after. The information that I have is that even when she took the stand in Rick Allen's trial, who she said that she was at the bridge with is not who she was really with. And they ran into, there's a Shelby Hicks and there's a Shelby Duncan. And
Who lives down the street from Curtis Palladino?
Not only Curtis Palladino, but Cheyenne's husband's brother lived on the property of the Paladinos. Literally. Michael, I'm dropping the link right now.
That's pretty. I mean, and my thing is, you were taking pictures on top of that bridge at at the same exact time they're saying two girls were being almost raped and slaughtered in the woods, and you didn't hear anything, you didn't see anything, nothing. Just you were
Nothing. Because
nothing.
I do not believe the girls. I do believe the girls were taken across the creek. I think the girls were taken across the creek somewhere. Or they were. I mean, there's no other taking them across the creek and up into the woods, whether it was to Ron Logan's or up there to 300 to a car or up to the cemetery to a car, would be the only realistic thing to me that happened. But when Cheyenne was on the bridge and taking pictures, the issue is that it's been emphatically stated that who she said she was on the bridge with was a lie.
Yeah.
And then she claimed that she ran into Daniel Pearson, who literally is a dead ringer for the Young Bridge Guy sketch. And his dad is a former Carroll County deputy.
Yeah.
And his whole and he
And his
made
family has been there since like the 1830s. The
so
Pearsons are
he's
very prominent.
and then when I'm told that there was a meth deal that Derek German did with Mark Palladino for a lot of money and never paid for it, like every single thing that every single case that I've researched or have I'm not going to say worked on because I'm not law enforcement. Don't work for law enforcement anymore. I'm not a private investigator. I want to be, should be, but
We got to open a company.
yeah.
Get us an LLC.
And everything that I've investigated with them, it all leads back to drugs. And it all
Always.
leads back to them being shot callers and telling somebody else what to do. Like if you are, not paying or you're going to be a snitch or they think you're going to snitch, they're going to have someone take you out. I have that in writing so many times that like even with like Garrett Kurtz, I got a message from someone who said that, yeah, he did it, but if he didn't do it, he would have been killed.
So how was Kurtz in county jail with Mark Palladino for a year untouched? That's the only thing that gives me any sort of
Exactly.
pause.
Exactly. So I know that
'Cause
in 2018, Garrett Kurtz met. It wasn't until 2018 that Garrett Kurtz actually met the Palladinos, and he was in jail in the White County jail with Jason Palladino. So when Garrett was transported, Garrett was already in prison for Nicole's death, and he was transported in. He was initially transported into the Newton County jail. I think it was because the White County jail didn't have room. So he started off there. This was to be closer to his attorney. And then they finally transferred him over to the White County jail. Well, Mark Palladino was in the White County jail because he was also there he had a hearing coming up. And the thing is that Garrett doesn't know 100% who I am. I think he's kind of figured it out. But I asked him, I said, "Hey, isn't Mark Palladino in there with you?" He didn't answer me. So I don't know. But I really don't think there's a rift between Mark Palladino and Garrett. The rift really is between Jason and Garrett.
Yeah. But what about Talitha? Like, I don't know. The whole thing's weird. It's fucking weird, man.
It's all weird. And that
Derek never ratted out Ashley Garth. There was nothing to rat Ashley Garth out for.
who said, is that in the chat?
Yeah, who's your daddy 11?
Okay. Okay. Let me clarify.
Derek and Ashley don't know each other.
And when Derek was, oh gosh, I can't, it's crazy that rumor is still going around. So the rumor initially was that Garrett Kurtz he unalived Abby and Libby as revenge for Ashley because it was Derek German who ratted on her and she lost her son. Now, think about how elaborate that story is. First of all, when Derek German was going through this whole drug situation in the courts, Ashley Garth was still in high school. They do not know each other. That's completely made up. Don't know where it came from, but Ashley Garth does not know Derek German. Ashley Garth did not lose her son to anyone. Find me a court case. There is no civil case. There's no family law case. Ashley did not lose her son to anyone.
She signed over guardianship when she went to prison on this case, but she never had
temporary guardianship.
Yeah, temporary.
So they're like Garrett Kurtz. I'm telling you, when you listen to Garrett Kurtz on Open Secrets, he is taking Nicole's background when he says she used to have sex for drugs. I mean, I don't want to talk badly about Nicole. I don't. But all of the things that he was saying about Ashley really was about Nicole. He's just switching the names. Just like in Ashley's case, he's switching the roles. Talitha did exactly what he said Ashley did is what Talitha did. He is pissed at Ashley. I have the letter that he wrote her telling her to shut her mouth. These cops are not your friend. You need to ride or die with me. And I killed Nicole so she wouldn't hurt you.
Such a fucking loser.
Ashley did not have anything to do in the ordeal with Nicole. I believe that Nicole was taken to that trailer that night as a last resort because Garrett gave her a hot shot. He missed the vein. It didn't work. And the hot shot came from the Palladinos. And the day that Garrett left Ashley out at Jasmine's trailer, told her he was going to go get drugs. He would be back. I'm assuming that Jason knew he was coming. And this came from Garrett himself. It wasn't until he got there that he knew that today was the day. He knew Jason wanted Nicole gone because Nicole was a snitch. But when he got there, as him and Mikey Hiddle were there, Nicole Bowen pulled up. Now, remember, the last time that Nicole Bowen was on that property, she was kicked off. But Talitha lured her back.
With drugs.
I'm assuming with the pretense that there was going to be heroin involved, which there was. And Jason basically told Garrett, today's the day. It's got to be done today. So Garrett and Nicole left. They went somewhere for over an hour. Then they showed up at Mikey Hiddle's apartment. They went in the bathroom, according to Talitha, and shot up. They both shot up heroin. I'm
But he
assuming
missed the vein, and that is in her autopsy.
fentanyl. And the pathologist said on the stand, or well, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't take the stand. He was testifying via Zoom that she had enough fentanyl in her to kill a horse. But she was a heroin addict. So she had a high tolerance and he missed the vein. And I think that they had, after being there at Mikey Hiddle's house for hours, they had to leave. And, this whole time, Ashley's trying to get a hold of somebody. And she even called her grandma. She got a message to her grandma, and her grandma cried to me and said, I wish to God I would have went and got her. But she was too far away. So.
And yes, they did get in a fight, but that's not what killed Nicole.
Nicole and you have to understand, Nicole started dating Garrett or seeing Garrett while Ashley and Garrett were still together. And Ashley didn't know about it at first. She was kicking Garrett out because he would not get off the drugs. He was bringing her down, and she went away to Florida for a year to try to get clean. And she kicked him out. But at that same time, he was seeing Nicole Bowen. And Nicole Bowen and Garrett went over and started staying at the Palladino's house.
And Nicole was talking all kinds of shit to Ashley before it was all erased on Facebook. And when this all happened, you could see it. One of the detectives says it in the interview. Nicole thought she was a badass. So when they saw
Detective
each other
Rowe.
at the trailer, the first thing they like on site, bitch, and so it was on site. But that's not what killed Nicole.
Yeah. Nicole said, on site, bitch. When I see you on site, I'm gonna fuck you up. So when Garrett, Nicole, and Talitha showed up
with
12
Nicole.
hours after Garrett left her there, and she hadn't heard from him, she didn't think he was coming back to get her, to take her home. They walk in. She's literally and if any of you ever got a chance to talk to Ashley for an hour, this girl is so timid. It's very easy. I can see clearly. It's very easy to understand how she was abused, and she's very timid, and she cries at the drop of a dime. Everything is upsetting. If it's something bad in her life, she gets very emotional and very upset. And she said when they walked in the door, she said, I thought my heart was going to jump out of my chest because I didn't know why they were there. And she was scared. And Garrett lied to Nicole. Nicole
He
didn't
called
know.
Jasmine on speaker and asked
Yeah.
her who's there.
Yeah.
Jasmine said no one.
Yeah.
So Nicole didn't know what she was walking into either. They were both set up by their fucked up boyfriend.
Right. So, hey, Michael, I see you're back.
Yeah, I am.
Hey, Michael.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
I
can
can
hear
it's
you.
me. I'm sorry. I'm outside. And
Oh, no problem. Was somebody saying that there's some sort of rumor about something's happened to Reese?
No, it's not a rumor. Yeah, I said that. His family messaged me and said, I'll read it to you. They said that we haven't heard. Reese was able to call. Reese called because no one's heard from him since the day after Andrew Baldwin came and seen him. And so I guess this was today that I got this message. Reese called and said we hadn't heard from him because he got moved to administrative segregation. He said the COs rolled in, stripped him down, and put him in a turtle suit, aka suicide watch. And he doesn't know who put the order in, and he's trying to find out.
Okay, I heard a slightly different story, but you know, it is what it is. I don't have definitive information, and if that's how it came from Reese, that's how it came from Reese. I heard a slightly different version that also supposedly came from Reese. It's not much different, but slightly, and so you know, I'll just leave it. I'll leave the ball where it lies.
Mm-hmm. But either way, he's been removed from that pod. And I don't know where they moved him to, but I know that I haven't heard from him all week via
Well,
messages.
I'm sure they wanted to separate him and everybody's
Mm-hmm.
everybody's favorite. So yeah, so the I don't know that I really have much more to add. You know, taking steps to get the post-conviction investigation going,
Right.
and I guess we'll see what Judge Gull does with all the stuff that's on her platter. I'm expecting, you know, the denied stamp will come out.
Right. Or a non or she'll let the clock run out for denial. I mean,
Well, she can let. Well, so here's the deal. Now she can let the clock run out on the motion to correct error.
mm-hmm.
There's no clock on the motion to preserve the evidence and to produce it. That's not subject to the clock. So she kind of has to rule on that.
Well, there's no deadline on it either.
No, there's no deadline on that. No.
Oh shit.
And
Yeah.
I mean, so the Court of Appeals. So once the clock runs out on the motion to correct error, it's deemed denied. There are 30 days to file a notice of appeal from that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Court of Appeals, after the notice of appeal is filed, doesn't get jurisdiction until the notice of completion of the clerk's record. Now, the clerk's record is all the documents in the case. So that's what, you know, the clerk puts that together, and that's going to be a pile of documents in this case. And so that's when the Court of Appeals acquires jurisdiction. But the motion to preserve and produce evidence doesn't affect the judgment. In other words, doesn't affect the convictions directly.
What is the what as far as the appellate attorneys go? I know that when they file the appeal, I know initially they're limited on how much. I think it's either words or pages. I think it's words in their appeal that they can file, but they can ask for more. What do you know? What the standard is if they ask for additional?
Yeah, I
Additional
don't. Yeah,
space in their appeal. What's the standard for the appeal? Like
yeah.
what does Indiana usually allow?
You know, I want to say it's 14,000 words. I mean, I'm confused. You know, you always have to look. I don't file all that much stuff in state court and fed court, and the Seventh Circuit. It's 14,000 words. That's a lot of words. I think it might be the same in the state courts. It might be 12. I don't know. My guess is Court of Appeals is going to give them whatever they ask for.
Okay. But if they give that to them, they also have to give it to the state, right?
Oh yeah, sure. But it also takes a lot less time to answer stuff usually than it does to make the arguments. Hey, I was a deputy attorney general. I filed 7 briefs in a day.
Oh,
Seriously.
goodness.
Hey, I did in 9 months as a deputy attorney general in the appeals division. I briefed 86 cases, basically.
I
Uh,
dated a deputy attorney general in Clark County, Nevada, and he was crazy busy. His heart exploded. He's dead now.
Oh my God.
He died,
Jesus.
yeah.
um, yeah,
And
they
he
got
had,
a big workload.
yeah, he was addicted to sleeping pills too. I think that had something to do with it.
Oof.
Mm.
Yeah, he was a hot
Yeah.
mess, but he worked really hard. He was miserable and I hated him, but I'm sad he's dead. I'm just joking. He was okay. But you know, he
You're
worked
just
really hard.
joking that you're sad he's dead.
No, I'm glad. I'm not glad. I felt bad when I found out. Someone called to tell me, and even though I didn't like him, it like made me stop. It took my breath away for sure.
Wow.
Anyway, the point is that it's a lot easier to answer the arguments than to make them, for the most part.
Okay, well, I just dropped the link again. Nobody wants to come up here and either talk to Michael or have a have a conversation about your theory or what's going on.
Well, I
I
really
know
do.
Indiana girls asked a couple of times about white side versus state. What was that? Something about white side versus state. Do you know? I don't know.
I didn't see
No,
that.
Whiteside doesn't ring a bell.
Okay.
Unlike Para, who has the encyclopedic knowledge and can name the cases, I kind of know the propositions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but I got to go look up the case names. I mean, I know what the cases say, but I don't necessarily know what the names of the cases that say it are.
Do you know anything about the Jennifer Dean case?
No.
I've heard about that. That's pretty close. Like the people involved are pretty close to everything.
Yeah, that's close to Gabe Ellis and all of them.
Hey Pandora, what you should come on and tell us about the properties because you seem to know a lot, and that's what I love.
I have a question for everybody else, and that is, I thought I heard someplace, uh, and I thought I heard someplace that Libby always had headphones with her. Does anybody know anything about that?
I know in the beginning there was talk if you like zoomed in on the picture of her, you could see headphones coming out of or in her pocket or something, but that I haven't heard anything about that in a long time.
And in her pocket in one of the pictures in the car?
No, on the bridge.
There are no
That there
pictures of Libby on the
Yeah,
bridge.
I've never seen
Oh,
Libby on the bridge.
Libby, sorry. I'm talking about Abby. There was stuff about Abby having earphones in her pocket on the picture of the bridge, but I don't know about Libby.
I mean, so Michael, what is just okay? Take take the attorney hat off. Take it
Okay.
off. Just take it
Um,
off
yeah.
and tell us from the south end of the bridge based on, and you don't have to go into detail about the facts that you've read or the pictures that you've seen. Just tell us what you think transpired at the south end of the bridge.
So I haven't seen the video, so this is subject to correction by actual evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you take and so it's all hypothetical. If you so in addition to being classics major, I was almost a math major at the same time, and so the thing you do in math proofs is assume so and such and such is true, and go on from there. Assume that the Snapchat picture of Abby is real. and taken it 207.
Okay, wait a minute.
Right.
You say assume.
Yeah.
Do we, okay, let me ask you this. Is there a valid reason for us to believe that? I know a lot of people think that it's not a real, I think they think it was all photoshopped, but is there a real reason to believe that that photo is not a true and accurate depiction of Abby on the bridge at
Well,
207? Hmm?
well, we know that the Snapchat app was accessed at 207. I've seen the Great Key 2019 report. It's Cecil had no explanation. I'm assuming it is, and the experts just can't explain why it's not in the cache, and it was taken on. I mean, the perspective of it seems to be consistent with it being Libby's phone. I'm not saying it was photoshopped. Maybe it was taken and uploaded on another phone at a different time. I mean, there's somebody else there with another phone. I don't know, but I don't want to multiply. From what we know, and I'm assuming that the thing is, Snapchat app was accessed at 207. There's this picture that people have been saying 207, and I understand that. I mean, it wasn't on the phone, and Cecil has no explanation for it.
Okay.
That picture being fake is a bridge too far for me. I mean, excuse the pun, but yeah, it's a bridge too far for me. Like that's pretty solid from the beginning before they would have a chance to like mess with it. Like that was first day stuff.
Well, it
Yeah.
was first day stuff, but it was shared by somebody else, and so the question is, I mean, yeah, I mean, but I think the only way they get the time is, I don't think they get the time from the metadata on the picture, because they got the picture from somebody who, a
Saw
friend
it
who,
on, saw it on
Wasn't
Snapchat.
it Snowburger?
it could
Wasn't
be,
it
I don't know.
Max
You all
Snowburger?
know this stuff much better than I,
I think it was
and
Max Snow. I'm not sure though.
Okay, go on,
so
Michael.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry.
it goes from, so if you put it together, putting it together with what Logan apparently told Reese, and I think I said this the other night, my view of this is that, and I don't know why Logan would be on the south side of the bridge, but I think that there's nobody behind Abby. There's nobody coming that way, coming south down the trail. Abby keeps walking towards Libby, and Logan starts walking across the bridge, passes Libby, passes Abby, recognizes Abby because he knows Anna, probably knows at least knows who Abby is too. Turns around and starts talking to him. Again, I've got a problem with, and so then you go into sort of what Reese's account of what Logan told him. That, let's go look at the rabbits and the horses, and you grab somebody by the shoulder, and
well, see, that was supposedly Logan's initial story, but that really wasn't. That might have been what was used to get them off of the south end of the bridge over to the top of the hill. But
yeah, and
that,
I've got I got huge problems. I mean, why would you? I mean, why would you take them across the creek?
well, I mean, if it's Logan, there's
What?
no other way to get to his property other than going back across the bridge. And when you
Right.
get to the north end of that bridge, it's like maybe 10, 15 feet. There's a path on the right that would take you up and around over to the cemetery in Logan's property. The fastest way would be across the creek onto Logan's property and up and through the woods towards his house. That's the fastest way. You can't go back. You can't go from the south end of the bridge onto Weber's property, then over to Logan's with still out without crossing the creek.
Yeah, no, that's the problem I got, and we have no reason to think they crossed the bridge again.
Right.
I mean, there were
And
people out there who would have seen them.
and then there's also, you know, not knowing all the details. I mean, when you look at the photos from the south end of the bridge that were done within like that day or the day after, where it literally looks like someone slid down on their butt down the side of the south end of the bridge. Who's to say that? I mean, once they go down, they're on the private drive. Then they have to go down another shorter slope to the creek. And at that area, it's kind of like a gravel, it's like a gravel beach, kind of. But who's to say that one of the girls didn't take off running? Which
Yeah,
then
yeah,
took them into the
And
yeah.
water.
I mean,
Libby was a swimmer, so I don't know if the water would have been as much of a barrier for her as people think it is.
I'm not saying. I mean, I'm not saying it's a barrier. I'm saying who the hell goes across down a hill, down a thing, across a creek in the middle of February, and then up a long damn hill just to look at some horses and rabbits. I mean, it just doesn't, to
No,
me.
that's what I'm saying is that whole story was a prelude to Logan opening the door to Reese about the truth. And he might have, once he passed the girls and turned around, approached them and started talking. But I until we see the real video, Libby's video, we won't know if there was anything else. We can
Well, there's the
take their word
video,
for it.
and there's
Right.
also there's also the issue of, if we can figure out who the third person
Mm-hmm.
was, or probably was. I mean, that'll add certainly a lot to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, with that
and,
comes in the Liebert signing at the mailbox.
well, funny you say that. I was just about to open the 4 to 5 a.m. security video to see if anybody's coming and going then on the drive. But of course, by then they're probably over at Logan's house and not using the private drive. On the other hand, you have Brad
When you say
Holder
when you say 4 to 5 a.m., is that on the 13th or the 14th?
on the 14th.
Was it the 14th that this person was seen down there by the mailbox, or was it the 13th?
No, I was getting to that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I was first going to look at the 4 to 5 a.m. stuff because of the phone catching all these text messages at 4:33. But the next thing I'm going to do is start going to look at the video of in the early morning hours leading up to 8:30 to see if there's anybody there that gets dropped off.
Okay. Well, and then again, like that's why this that's what's intriguing about this Tina Rodell story to me, because if
Which Tina Rodell story? There are several.
I know, but there are several, but the people involved weren't ever interchanged. But if they went out there and they camped out overnight on the 12th to the 13th, if they were out there, you've got Tyler French, you've got Keegan Callis, you've got Jeff Reagan, all of them out there. Did they wander over there to that private drive and was seen by a mailbox?
Yeah. Well, there's that picture. There's that picture at about 6:30 in the morning of the meth heads out there.
Hmm.
on the 13th.
I guess, I mean, for me, there's just a lot of, loose ends in this case that were never, cleared up. Like they never bothered to shut the door on any of these suspects that from the very beginning. And I mean, in most cases, I personally believe in most cases that your initial information is the most accurate, not stuff that you come up with
You mean
years
the
later.
initial information that was over recorded?
Yeah, bye. It's all gone. Mhm. And then you have to, I mean, you have to ask yourself why? Why? Is it drugs?
I think,
Is it Masons? What is it?
well, and and I understand there are a lot of people who go after the why, and I just want to prove the what first. And if you can prove the what first, then the why is more likely to emerge.
Hey, criminality.
Oh, Teresa's here?
She is.
Well, put her on and get me off. She's more interesting than I'll ever be.
Well, you don't have to go anywhere. She can come up too.
She's also funnier. Although I am putting up, I want you all to go gather. Look, in this business, it's serious, in the wrongful conviction biz, it's serious stuff with people suffering, but you also have to be able to laugh because otherwise you couldn't do the work. And I saw something on Reddit yesterday that just made me bust a gut. Somebody referred to you know what as unified cabal.
What?
And I'm going to put that up on Twitter and invite everybody to put up their funniest phrases or memes from the Delphi case. Just one. Just one. You have to, I think I know what's likely to start showing up.
I like lynch mob.
Well, flattery will get you nowhere.
I'm just saying I that's what I call them now. It's the lynch mob. And bought a lot of books on Delphi history, and I love the old Platt Matt books. And lynch mob is appropriate for the history of Delphi.
Teresa, I just
I don't
dropped
know.
you the link if you want to come up.
If we're going to something that I coined, my favorite of that seems to have stuck is the Tweedles.
Hmm.
To refer to everybody's favorite podcast.
The Tweedles. Yeah.
Tweedledum
Well,
and Tweedledee.
uh-oh. Hang on a second. Um,
I can't stand those people.
Well, it's funny. I mean, they turned on me. I don't want to get into the sort of internecine warfare among content creators and people involved in this case. But I appeared twice on their podcast, and they were pretty terrific.
Uh-huh.
And they were really
there's
good episodes.
Teresa's here.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
Teresa!
So have you stopped laughing from last night?
Oh
No,
my
I
god,
did not.
wrong.
I cracked up about the dang thumb toe forever. I even was doing more research on thumb toes. I was like, what am I doing with my life? This is such a waste of time. But I needed to know.
That was just wrong.
It was wrong. I know. It was
Wrong.
wrong. We need to get that on yours. So we can click it.
Oh
So-
my goodness.
But I know I interrupted Michael when I popped on. So I know
you're
you
fine.
No, I wasn't saying anything important. It was the stuff that came up last night was hilarious.
White supremacy.
The YouTube supremacy.
YouTube supremacy.
Well, who in the world wants to do YT as white? Come on.
Yeah.
That's YouTube. You're living in a YouTube world.
It's the future of the language.
I can't. I'm too old for it. I can't change now. You already got me condensing YouTube to YT. You can't just start throwing all kinds of other things in the mix.
Yeah, I kind of
Frickin'
revolted. I
I can't
revolted.
stand this.
I revolted pronouns too. Just can't do it. It's not.
I know. I'm with you.
Try working with the public in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
That's a train wreck.
That's why I stay in my office and talk to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine Los Angeles. Here, when I worked for Ellie, it was, I mean, I literally would like almost pull over on the freeway coming home from work and want to throw up because
So
there
I'm
was so many things.
live, Amy. So what have you guys covered? What are you guys talking about? What were you in the midst of talking about when I joined? Did you guys already?
Well, one thing I don't think you all knew about, Teresa, on your live, maybe some people in your chat saw it. You know, we're trying to track down. I think it was Four Pitts' brother,
Mhm.
and you know, who found and took pictures of a big ass knife and a pair of gloves by a burn pit near the crime scene.
Do we know whose burn pit?
It was in between the Sandefers and the Webbers right there off of like is it
52?
252.
Yeah, 252
Yeah.
and 625.
That's why, Teresa, we need to get together on the maps.
Yeah, I messaged you back and then I realized you were live, so I was like, we'll just hook up after you're live. So
yeah.
Well, there's a White House in the back. I haven't looked it up. There's a White House in the background. And this stuff was turned over to, I mean, the story goes that the stuff was turned over to law enforcement, and I've been checking up, and first time the defense has ever heard of these things, as far as they know.
Well, I don't know. Did you get that? I don't know if you've gotten did you get my email where I sent you that link in that still shot? You're fired.
I can't go check. I'm on my phone right now, so if I go check, I will be booted up.
So there was somebody, and I appreciate this somebody who sent me some things. And I can get on Google Earth and all of that, but when I'm live, it doesn't. My computer just can't hang, guys. I have to get a new one. But there was they sent me this. It's like a live feature of Google Earth, and they've got everything mapped out. And I know that Reese said there were 2 burn pits, one behind Ron Logan's and one across from Logan's. He didn't know where, but I know the one that was across from Ron Logan's house is the one that supposedly a lot of stuff was burned in. So this imagery that I was sent, I was able to scroll around, move around, and across the street there is a property, and then behind it, further back, like in a field, it looks to be a burn pit. And I zoomed in on it and I screenshot it and I sent it to you, Michael. And I sent you.
Absolutely. And by the way, I have not seen the return on the FBI search warrant. I've only seen a few pictures of Logan's house. I don't know whether this burn pit was across the street. I don't even know if the FBI looked at it.
Probably didn't. That's what's significant about the fact that Reese even knows about it. And is there any, like, what do you have to, I mean, what do you have to do, or what do we have to do as the public to actually see the return on the search warrant?
You know, if the return on the search warrant was in discovery, there's probably nothing you can do. All I can do, and I know you asked for pictures, and I can't share them with you. I can talk about what little I've seen of the discovery, but I can't I can't give it to anybody.
So I know that discovery is different than the exhibits, and is there any way that the discovery becomes available after the case is over? Like Rick Allen getting complete access to his case file.
Well, he can have complete access to it, but there's the protective order, and the protective order doesn't have any end on it. Now, you could probably file a motion to, lift it.
But isn't the protective order only on okay, is the protective order different from the sealed?
Yes. The
Yeah.
sealed are the exhibits in court, and the protective order is on all of discovery.
Is it still on all of Discovery?
Yep. And it doesn't have an end date on it.
Mm.
And I think I was explaining the other night, I think it's absolutely the right thing. I'm sorry. I mean, it would be nice to have transparency.
I mean, at this stage in the game, absolutely. I'm just saying at the end of the trial.
At every stage of the game, because there is stuff in there that would make 1,000 people's lives miserable, and probably more than 1,000. I mean, everybody and his brothers turned in their in-laws, turned in. Oh, it's my brother. It's my brother who did it. I mean, you really don't want to see this stuff. I mean, it's just like, oh. I mean, there's personal information, their phone numbers, their addresses. It's just it would be very damaging if it got out.
Well, that would be just the tips, or are you talking about just like the follow-up and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, there are tips, there are the police reports there. I mean, and again, there are 15 to 20 terabytes of stuff. Is my guesstimate. I've seen the drives, and I've seen more or less how full they are. So there's something. So there are 25. I think there are 25 drives, and there are 25 drives of various sizes, and they're not all full. So I think there's about 15 to 20 terabytes of stuff, and a lot of stuff, and you really can't go. I mean, you can't go through it item by item, figuring out, well, this can be released to the public and this can't. And it really makes a lot of sense that it's all just covered by one big protective order.
I don't like that rule.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not saying people have to agree with me.
I would give up my left titty.
It's all your fault, Michael. It's all your fault.
I would give my left titty to see that file. But
Look, I'm the
left one's
the left is the important one too, Michael.
Yeah, the left
Come
is
on.
the good one. When somebody offers up their left, it's a big deal.
I mean, I'm a minority of one who's very happy that the trial wasn't streamed.
You didn't want the trial streamed?
No.
Why?
Well, if they streamed it, so here's my problem with the televised. If they had streamed it the way so Indiana does have a website where they stream trials. I mean, I've watched some trials.
Yeah.
And they do set up the camera so that basically all you can see is the witness and the judge, and maybe the lawyers as they're doing the questions. The thing that I hate, and I think is incredibly unfair, on the actually televised trials recently, is I just think the defendants are facing some of the worst moments of their life, and I just think having the camera on them, looking at their reactions to this, looking at their reactions to that, looking at how they're talking to their lawyers, it's just, and people will, depending on what they think about the case, they will come to conclusions about what the defendant is thinking. I just think having a camera on the defendant is it's very unfair. Oh,
Okay,
Matt.
Teresa, did you do that?
Yeah, I shared it a bit when you guys were talking about it. I was trying to see if I could find a fire pit.
Oh, there she is. Okay, so okay, go to the front of Logan's house.
So it doesn't really have great street view. Just I'll tell you that from here.
No, it doesn't. So okay, right here's Logan's with you got the 3 dormers coming out of the roof.
Yeah, this is all Logan's property.
Right, but his house, the actual
here.
physical house, is that one right there where your mouse is. Now, go straight up. Go straight up. Keep going. Across 300 and zoom. There you go.
So this
Out
is the
there.
Mears property.
Okay, so go out there. Do you see those 2 areas right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you zoom in on them, the one looks like a fire pit.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Most of these properties probably have a fire pit. They probably have a burn pit.
Well, that's where that is where Reese claims that Logan told him he burnt evidence.
That he burned it on the Mears property?
He didn't say Mears property. He said he burned it. Now, you say Mears property, but does someone live there, or is that just like another
This is an outbuilding.
like an outbuilding that they own? If Ron knows that no one's living there, then he could have very well went over there and burned stuff. And
where's the cell tower? Because there was a cell tower across the street too.
The cell tower is over by the on the other side. The other way.
Which way?
It's by
It's
Logan's,
really almost right
on
across the
corner.
street from Logan's house.
Yeah, it's like right on the corner where it makes that weird turn right before Logan's house.
Oh, right here. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Mears. This is the Mears house. This is, I believe, and I'd have to go back to people who I talked to that were local. But I believe
so much
this
land
was all
right there.
Well, yeah, they own all this. They own all
Everything.
this.
Yeah, and there's lots, like, their family members live on all the little farms and stuff around them too. Like Benjamin Mears moved from that house to a little farmhouse not far away.
Where is the butcher shop at?
It's right where she's pointing, but they don't use it as a butcher shop anymore. They like converted it to like a family like gathering place now. They had, if you go to one of their websites or on Facebook, they had they had some sort of like yard sale or something in the middle of winter. So they held it inside that butcher shop, and you can see pictures of it. But you can't see the office that one guy talked about with all the naked girls. But I think it's that one parallel building.
Okay.
The white one with the white roof?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but it's one of those buildings, and they turned it into a that website, and they had like a yard sale or something on their Facebook page, and you can see all the pictures from inside of it. And Benjamin Mears lived there during the murders.
When this property used to actually be the Abbott's property, and that the Abbotts are part of the Mears family.
Yeah, and the Wolves are too.
Mm-hmm. So here's the other part of their property you can see.
So would there be any reason for somebody to be walking down from the butcher shop to the Mears main residence?
Well, I think that would be Ben Mears, if anybody. I mean, which he ends up at the crime scene too.
Who ends up at the crime scene too?
Ben Mears.
How so?
Because he's there with what's his name? Pat Brown.
Pat Brown? Pat Brown?
Pat Brown. And then he ends up meeting him down there where the girls are found.
My question. So I'm the reason I'm asking question about the walking down from the butcher shop to the Mears main residence is somebody could have been walking down from the butcher shop to the main residence, and that's who Sarah Carbaugh saw
Very possible.
in
Yeah.
a tan jacket and bloody from being in the butcher shop.
Hmm. Now go, Teresa, can you go over to, so the glove and the knife were found near a fire pit, and Four Pits said it was between Sandefur's and Weber's.
Okay, well that's a lot. So
Yeah.
the Sandefurs are over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you've got a lot of residents from here to Weber's, and this is also the area where this walkway, this little trail, is
Mm-hmm.
where Eric Williams says that he saw all the weird bones and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, a fire pit from the Sandefurs here all the way up to the Weber's. There's a lot of properties in between there.
Well, I'm
So
thinking, it looked like it was it looked kind of like it was in a wooded area. The photo that did you see the photos that he sent? Did you see the photos at Four Pins? I put them on, what was it, Saturday night?
no, I didn't see those.
Okay. Let me see. Let me pull this back. Maybe he's still in here. And if he could guide us to where.
I've talked to Four Pits about his brother a little bit too, so I kind of know. I have some recollection of what you're speaking of.
Okay. Okay. Um, hmm. This case is just. That's a pretty good visual.
Well, when Sleuthy and I did all the steps from Libby's phone,
Mm-hmm. I watched that.
Yeah, it takes you to this freaking garage.
And whose property is that on?
That's the Weber's.
That's what I thought. So what hey T, what do you know about the barn and the shed on Logan's property? Because I've heard that one was burned, one was tore down. Then I've heard I think it was actually Streets of Bakerfield said that they that wasn't on Ron's property. It was one of them was on Abby's mom's property. So have you heard that?
Well, here's the difference in dates. So this is 2017,
Uh-huh.
and then here's 2024.
Oh, do it again. Do it again. Go back to 2017.
I have heard something about something being torn down there. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember something being torn down at his property.
Okay. And this
is February.
2017?
This is 2024.
Okay.
February 2024 back to April 2017.
I don't really see a difference. Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, there's a difference because there's what is that building? You can't really see that building. This building right here.
Uh-huh.
You can see it pretty clear here, right here. I don't know. I can't tell if it's gone or not, but it looks different.
Do you know which one is the barn? Do you know which one's the barn?
This one.
Okay.
They tore down the Mears barn, the one that the photo was taken in, somebody said.
Yeah, it was the Mears barn and something on Abby's mom's property. That those two things were basically told. It was all mumble jumbled, and everybody was saying that it was at Logan's, but it was two different properties.
I would ask one of the locals for sure. I don't know. I remember something on Ron's property being taken down or being told it was taken down, and then I remember the Mears barn being taken down, but I don't remember any details about either one. This is Abby's.
They have a barn.
Yeah, Tracy Bakerfield. What did and hey guys, really quick, I just want to let everybody know. I have to be off of here by 6:00 because Reese's family's texting me and they're saying that he's going to call at 6:00. So
There
I
was
need,
a
I need
on
to
like
take
the
that call.
old. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just
No, go
came back.
ahead.
On the old, I don't know, on Abby's property, if you go up more towards 625, there's like an old barn on there. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I've always just been fascinated with it because that used to be the old poor farm. So I think I was just wondering if it was an old barn left over from the old poor farm. But I don't think that has anything to do with it. But what I had heard was the Mears had a barn torn down. And it was the barn that they took that picture in with the flowers from the psychic.
This is like a little property right here.
Where is that at?
That's on Abby's.
Yeah, is there like a property now? Because when
Yeah, it's got a
the
driveway and
satellite
everything.
that I got was it was like a barn and some old silos, and then like it looked like there wasn't like a driveway. Maybe they sold it. I don't know, but there was something there, like an old barn or something. I was just wondering because it used to be the old county poor farm over there, so I was just wondering if it was an old barn from the county poor farm.
Yeah, that definitely is different than it was back in 2017. There's a driveway and everything now.
Okay, yeah, because before it was just like a barn. You could tell it was buried behind trees. So there is someone living, because I know the address was weird too, but I know when they put in 25, a lot of the addresses, right, especially right there, got all discombobulated from what they used to be. So the property records can be confusing around there.
I'd have to go back and look at the property records and see if they sold off this entire chunk of land or if they just built over here on it. I don't have an answer for that, but we can pull up the property records and check the dates on that too.
It was like 2284 North, 625 West, or something like that.
Yeah, Criminal Network, I think all eyes answered for me. Yeah, it was on the website. That's why I didn't have it either, and I'd only watched the 4 minutes. So Sleuthy had sent me the whole link. All right, is there anything else you wanted to see on this one? We were just looking at the fire pit. Did you need anything else map-wise? Is anybody here still? Is it just me?
I was eating a chip. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if you guys wanted me to leave this up or not, or if you guys didn't have anything else that you
Well,
wanted.
I'm so sorry. Someone was asking about, hold on,
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to run downstairs really quick. So
the route from Abby's house.
You can't just leave me to my own devices up here, because gosh only knows how many toes I'll show.
I was
You better
eating a
not.
chip. I'm so sorry. But someone was asking about Abby's house to the trail. It's really close.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing stories, but like years ago, how um, the girls were yelled at for cutting through people's properties,
Yes.
Lieber.
going back to Abby's house from the trails.
Didn't
Yeah.
Lieber used to yell at them?
Yeah,
Okay. Kay Weber yelled at them.
Kay Weber.
Yeah.
Yep, it was Kay
But I
Weber.
believe that was Libby and somebody else though, not necessarily Abby, because her story was only about Libby and somebody else. We don't know who the somebody else necessarily was. I think it was Libby and Kelsey, but that's neither here nor there.
Right. But yeah,
But
it was Abby's
because
house was close enough to. I mean, if they wanted to walk a decent distance, I mean,
it's not even that far. I mean, Abby's house is here. The south side of the trail's here. The south side of the bridge is here, and then Abby's house is here. It's right there.
Right. Yeah, it's not that far.
Has anybody seen the infrared footage from the drone that was up in late afternoon on the 13th?
That guy took it down. He had it up for a while. And then he started like scribbling back and forth about explanations as to why they didn't find him. And then he just took it down and erased his channel.
Yeah, I have his name somewhere. I want to say his first name's Michael. And
Oh, I know the guy you mean. I know exactly the guy you mean.
And Tobe had him come out there.
The IT guy in Delphi.
Yeah, he was out there like 5, 6 o'clock, and his infrared never indicated that there were any warm figures anywhere.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is that so on Bob Ruff's podcast this week with Bob Mata, the subject of the drone came up, and Bob Ruff was saying that hunters use drones to find deer that they shoot even the next day. In other words, they shoot the deer and the deer runs off and they can't find them. They use drones to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fluffy Bunny, come up and tell us what you know about that. Fluffy Bunny says she has text messages from the guy who flew the drone.
Oh, okay. I just want to say that Bob Ruff was saying that if those girls had been lying there, infrared camera absolutely would have seen them.
Well, yeah. I don't think they were there.
Yeah, I don't either. And it's
Fluffy Bunny, I just dropped the link for you. She said, no, I'm too shy. I have screenshots of the text. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to show your face.
Come on, Fluffy Bunny. Don't be shy.
Yeah, the rumor about the deer across the creek that the person didn't that come from Becky Patty?
So who found them? Was it Jed Johns with the deer, or was it Pat Brown who did CPR on them? I've never ever been able to quite figure out who found them.
Right. No, I don't think anybody did CPR on them.
Yeah, nobody did CPR.
There's a rumor that Pat Brown tried to revive him.
That was something that was said. He didn't say that when he testified, though. He says he didn't touch it.
Okay.
So Pat Brown and I believe her name's Melissa. I get the M's confused over there. They're converging at the same time. Then you have another group that's coming from the other side. But Pat Brown and Becky Patty's sister are the first ones that actually come upon it. But then there's other groups that are still coming, which includes Ben Mears and a group of 3 women. And then you have Erskine and
So ACV in the chat says Erskine says he found them before 10 a.m. And Four Pits is asking you to take the map back over by Wilson Bridge.
Back over by Wilson Bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Fluffy, thank you. I'll pull them up. Yeah, they found the girl's clothes at 11. I mean, the photos are time-stamped 11.
Because of cliquish reasons? What does that mean?
ACV says, don't hate the messenger. Those are his words on an interview, still online, that Erskine said that he found the bodies at 10 a.m.
That's
Okay,
what that one guy, Chris Todd, says too.
Yeah, the problem with that, I mean, what does Erskine say he did? I mean, did he tell somebody? I mean, how is it you find 2 dead bodies and it takes 2 hours before anybody knows about it?
Right.
Well, Erskine is the one. Erskine and his brother-in-law are the ones who found the clothing, and then they contact. That's who's taking the pictures of the clothing in the creek, and those photos are time-stamped. And so he supposedly calls in where why can't I think of these people's names right now? I just can't come up with their names. The officer that was supposed to be going to get the
trail cam.
Yeah. And then he ends up coming down where they found the clothes, and then he turns around, and that's when they find the bodies, which is about an hour after they find the clothes.
How did it take them an hour to find the body? That doesn't make any fucking sense. So they found the shoe and the clothes an hour before they actually. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought I knew everything, but they didn't. I thought it was like right away.
No, they found the clothes first, and I mean, when you go up over that, and actually, I was watching today. I went Four Pits' channel and was watching his brother and Noe canoe down the river, Deer Creek, and they walk up the embankment. So you kind of it's not like when people say they were walking along Deer Creek. If they were just walking along Deer Creek, they would have never seen those girls. They would have had to have climbed up over the embankment up into the wooded area, and it's like rigid. It's like there's like a really deep ravine to the left of where the girls were found, and then across from the ravine, it kind of like flattens out, and you would have never seen them just walking along Deer Creek.
That's so weird.
Okay, so ACV says Erskine says he radioed it in. Another law enforcement officer came in to secure the scene. Mm-hmm. He went to the station to make a statement.
Yeah, he says he left the scene as soon as he saw the girls.
100% show if it was there, especially only 3 hours after going missing, wouldn't it?
Sorry, whatever I downloaded from Fluffy Bunny just started playing in the background. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Erskine says so. Okay, so Erskine's story, which he doesn't testify to, so I mean you can only take it from the various stories, is that he's over. Him and Ello McDonald, which is his brother-in-law, are over here, and they find the clothing in the creek, and then they call that in, and then the people come, and they've already taken photos of what's in the creek. Okay, and then go in further. Then the officer, I think his name starts with a B. I don't know why I can't remember that dude's name. So comes down this way, and he's over here. Now Pat Brown and I think it's Melissa are coming this direction. The others are coming down from this direction, and then Erskine's over here on this side. Jake Johns is over here, where he's saying that he's looking that direction, right? And he's like, hey, I see clothing, I see this, I see that, I see deer, whatever he's supposedly seeing on this side. And so you have like all these people that like emerge on the crime scene at the same
all at once.
Right. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So the first ones that actually like supposedly call out that they see the girls is Pat Brown. And then Pat Brown, I think, ends up calling, who does he say he called? Liggett? He called somebody who wasn't at the scene. Giancola? Yeah, Giancola. It's a G. Thank you. Giancola and Yoder. Giancola is the one that comes down. And then Erskine calls Yoder. And so Yoder comes over. So then you have Giancola and Erskine and Yoder being the first two cops on the scene.
Okay, Four Pits, I thought that you said that those items were found between Sandefur's and Weber's. He's saying go to
Right,
Wilson's
good.
Bridge and look for the White House. And I'm
Just to the east of it. There's pictures of the, like in the thing, there's pictures of the house.
yeah, what the
That's this house then.
And if those clothes weren't there the night before, that means they came from downstream. Does that make sense?
what I don't understand is why the clothes would even be thrown in the creek to begin with.
And why didn't they see him the night before?
I mean, I'm saying like logically with Rick Allen being the guy, and he sees the white van, he's freaking out, he takes the girls across the creek. I mean, that was the scenario. He saw the white van. Where was he when he saw the white van? Because
Well,
if he saw the white van, the person driving the white van should have saw him and two girls. There's nowhere to hide there.
well, there
Then
is. This is downhill. So the state's theory at trial, which we know to not be true, is that Rick Allen takes the girls down the hill. You can't see the elevation in this, but I could turn that on. But this is you would not see anything down here. So essentially, he would have taken the girls down the hill, and he's going to essay them somewhere.
Right there. Am I?
where'd she go? Did we?
I was gonna say, am I the one? Is it me?
Oh, what happened? Hold on. What happened?
I don't know. You dropped me.
I kicked you out.
Yeah, you
No,
did.
I'm
Moving.
kidding.
I'm over here.
kidding.
I'm just over here talking away. I don't even know what you guys heard. So I was saying, like, the state's theory is that Rick Allen takes them down the hill over the private drive, and then they're behind this. You can't see the elevation change, but you wouldn't see down here. And so that he was going to essay them here. That he sees the van coming, so he forces them across the creek. Well, stepwise, when we did that, he would have had to have walked the girls to the end of the beach over here and then cross the creek. So two options for clothing, if you want to go that route, is that the girls are crossing the creek already partially unclothed and they drop the clothes, or the perpetrator drops the clothes in the creek on purpose to get rid of evidence.
Did they, has anybody said whether or not they saw the clothes while they were searching?
Nobody saw the clothes the night before. The clothes are not found until like 11:15 the next morning.
So that
On the
means they
14th.
And I'm sorry, they would have. I mean,
They come from downstream. That means they came from downstream and got
No,
caught on whatever
the
log
water,
thing was
the water
there.
flows. The water flows this way,
Yeah.
east to west.
yeah.
So they came
So-
from like Wilson's Bridge.
Not necessarily. They could have come here and then gotten caught right there.
Yeah.
If they cross from here to the crime scene, you drop the clothes in the creek, it goes there.
Yeah. Yeah. But why didn't they see him the night before?
That's the question. Especially it's a bright tie-dye shirt.
Yeah.
Right. And who was it? Was it Kelsey and Cody who crossed the bridge that
Yeah.
night?
And they
And
said
went
they
down
knocked
there
on
looking?
people's doors.
Oh man.
And why didn't they see the shoe the night before?
Well, the shoe was with the clothes
Yeah.
on the brush in the water, and the other shoe was up there with the girls. So
All right. So just FYI, I don't believe the state's theory. So I'm just telling you what
no,
the
I
state,
don't either.
Okay, what the
No.
state's theory would have been and how the van played into the van plays into it.
Right. Yeah, I don't believe there's, I mean, it's just not, it's not plausible. I mean, like, ugh, there's so much. There's so much that you would have found in Rick Allen's history that would have you could go back and look and say, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, this guy was into little girls. He was into the, you know, the P ring. He was into all of that." And with all of those devices that he had in his house, they found nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. So,
Not one thing.
like, I wish there was a way to look up statistics on people who kill late in life and never kill again.
Yeah. And just
Like,
randomly on like a Monday afternoon in a park where there's like people everywhere and you've already like walked by, been seen, and have seen other people.
mm-hmm. Okay, we might have a guest. Hold on a second here. Oh, no. What is that? Oh, okay. Never mind. So, anybody who wants to come up, we're getting close to the end game.
I think I'm going to go start looking at security video.
Hey, did you get those from Minivan Traveler?
Oh, did you guys want this video that's Fluffy Bunny sent? I didn't get to play it.
Yeah, no, go play it.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to mute, otherwise I'll have an echo.
Okay.
Did you have that? Did you get those videos from Minivan Traveler?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. Maybe I haven't looked someplace I should have.
Back in the day, there was a guy. Hold on. I'm sorry.
I've not. I don't think I've ever heard of Minivan Traveler.
He was a guy on YouTube back in the day, and he got a hold of those security videos from the Packers. And he was like going over them obsessively for a long time. I don't even know if he's still on YouTube, but he had them for a long time. And he talked about that white van.
The one that was sitting that no one got out of
He
and
did
just
like a
sat
whole
there
show
for
on it.
forever and then drove away.
Yeah, you should talk to him because he like obsessed over that, and he would probably have good details for you to look at too, if you can find him.
Somebody can send me the contact info for him. That'd be great.
I don't know where he went. Like I said, he lived in a minivan in the woods down by a river. No, I'm just joking. I don't know if it was by a river, but he lived in a minivan in the woods.
What was his channel called?
Minivan Traveler.
Oh, shit.
He used to be like a newscaster or something, and he was, I'm guessing there's probably drugs involved, but he was homeless and living in a minivan and just kind of prancing around the United States wherever it wasn't snowing.
Jesus.
But he
Go ahead.
his shit. But he used his press something to get his hands on that security video from Packers.
Press his credentials?
Yeah, something like that. So that's why I was wondering if you got it from him, because I remember I used to listen to him and he would obsess over those videos.
I didn't get it from him. It was a link to. I mean, it's on YouTube someplace still.
Okay.
I think I have the link, but I think the thing about it is it doesn't have the thing that it doesn't have. I don't believe is when the van actually pulls up.
Yeah. Yeah, skeptic curiosity. Yeah, he had there was construction going on, and he was like talking about when the construction vans were leaving, when they were coming. So yeah, he would be a person to talk to if he was still around.
Those videos are still on the website for the streaming service because I pulled them up when we were going over all the white van stuff.
What about Melissa Marchand? Isn't Christian Yeah, Christian Marchand is a dirty white boy. Sorry.
Well, you know what? Garrett claimed to be a dirty white boy, but you have to be and Travis.
Yeah. You have to go to
Travis
prison for
has
that.
Travis has extensive experience with prison gangs and affiliations. And if you want to, like, he's somebody that we could have on here to talk about dirty
What is
white
that?
boys.
Has
because-
anybody figured out what that tattoo on Garrett's neck is?
No, I haven't even looked at it close. I just don't even like, I'm telling you, that man, he's a man now. He will flip on you on a dime. The second you question him on anything that he's saying, it's a major outburst. Like, it's a major flip the chain. He's lost it. And you don't know how many times. I mean, now don't get me wrong, because I have pressed a lot of different things, and he doesn't know who I am.
One of the
Huh?
Sorry, it was the video.
And he has flipped out. For example, he told me that he had Nicole drug running to and from Indiana to Arizona and back, and that the cartel, Garrett was not he was a peon. He wasn't in control of anything, although he wants everyone to think that he was or is. He wasn't. But so he tried to make it out like he was a Jason Palladino or a Mark Palladino. So he's got Nicole running to and from Arizona, running all of this meth, and then the cartel found out she was snitching. And these are Garrett. I've screenshotted all of these messages that she was going to snitch. So the cartel ordered him to kill her. And what the plan was, okay, now him not knowing who I am, he's telling me that he's wanting me to believe that he lived in the trailer out in Kentland, which he did not. It was the first time he was ever there. That he told Nicole he loved Nicole. He loved her to death, according to him. He loved her to death, and he told her what the cartel wanted him to do. So the plan was that she agreed to allow him to cut off her finger and send a picture to the cartel. And they were going to go to Jasmine Parker's trailer in Kentland and pick up his clothes that weren't there. And they were going to take off together, right off in the wind. And when I basically said, okay, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. He blocked me. And he's blocked me like 3 or 4 times. I'm blocked now this last time because he said, you say you like true crime. Well, you keep sticking your nose in this and you're going to find out. And you can take that any way you want. That was the last message that I got from him.
Doesn't he get beat up a lot in jail?
I think he did when he was before he went to prison. And I know that when we get into Ashley's case, I mean that's how Jeff Sneath became friends with him, was when they were in jail and Garrett was getting punked all the time. So Jeff kind of took him under his wing. And I know that when he was in the White County jail, when they brought him back in for Ray's case. This is after Ashley's trial. When they brought him back into White County for Ray's case, he couldn't leave his cell. And he was telling a jail guard that, oh, this is effed up. They think this is gay gay stuff, and they need to understand that I was me and my brother were raped when we were little, and we tracked the guy down and we killed him. Okay, well, that doesn't track with Ray Hanish's age. And Garrett, I don't believe any of that crap about him being raped when he was young. And don't say anything, streets of Bakerfield, but we will get into the dentist in Ashley's case.
Oh my god. The dentist is crazy, man. I've known about the dentist. Oh my god. Yeah, we gotta talk about the dentist someday.
All right, Teresa, go ahead and play this video. And do you know what it's supposed to be of?
It's well, I don't know. This is what Fluffy Bunny said she sent. So
Okay.
it's only 40 seconds long. So and then I gotta hop down and get ready for a live. So I'll play this and then I'll say goodbye, my goodbyes.
Okay.
Body would 100% show if it was there, especially only 3 hours after going missing, wouldn't it? I made contact with the individual who flew the drone. He went to the sheriff's office at about 6 p.m. They drove to a high point on the trail near one of the girls' homes. He went up high and flew over the trails, and he went up and down the whole of Deer Creek. He remembers the creek banks, and up and around them, he could see searchers and deer throughout the woods, but the girls' bodies did not show up on Thursday.
Okay, that's all there was.
That's him. That's him. Mike Boutran. He's the one who had the drone with the infrared heat on it.
That's crazy. And they would still be warm at that point. I mean, they would still register heat.
Mm-hmm. No, they would be. And that is, I know what video that is. That's like a 4-part series
Matt
about
Sullivan.
The Gabe Ellis theory. And
Yeah,
he talks
your
about Tina Rodell.
Your minivan guy is Jim Wagoner.
Yeah, that's his name. He was crazy, but he had that footage.
He has a channel, but I don't know if he has any of his really old stuff on it.
No.
The minivan. What'd you say about the guy with the minivan?
His name is Jim Wagoner.
Jim Wagner, yeah. Minivan Traveler. That sounds familiar. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but pre-COVID.
He's still active on social media, on YouTube, but I think he got rid of his old channel or he got rid of his old videos. I'm not sure, but he does have a channel. He does have some Delphi stuff up. I don't know if he's ever re-put up the stuff he took down because those videos were old.
Yeah, that was like pre-COVID.
Yeah, so he had found. So they stream that construction company, and you can still find it online on the actual website. They streamed the construction. They do it for a lot of the places that they're doing construction under, and they stream the construction so you can see what's going on.
Yeah. He talked about a white van a couple times.
Right, correct. Because you can see that's where the picture, the infamous picture of the transit van.
Yeah.
Out on the street. That's from that footage.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy's got to go in 8 minutes to catch Reese on the phone. So maybe
yeah, I do. They're gonna call me on 3-way, and because I haven't heard. I mean, I've messaged him, but I haven't gotten any messages. I haven't gotten any messages from him since he called on 3-way. The day. So what was it? The 13th, after Andrew Baldwin was there. So I'm going to find out what's going on with him. And then Michael, I'll let you know, because I'm kind of worried. Okay.
April, that's an interesting comment that you bring that up, because I always heard that Abby is the one who had head trauma. And I wondered why nobody ever talked about it. So April just asked, how come nobody ever talks about that Libby had head trauma? I always was told that Abby had head trauma.
There's that Hannah Shakespeare documentary when they released the audio from that like meeting that she had. I think Sleuth did it or whatever. They talk about that in there, that Abby had head trauma, that she was hit in the back of the head and that she was carried across the creek.
Well, that's not what the autopsy, that's not what the ME said. The ME said that Libby is the one who had, I believe it was a hematoma. But
Yeah.
and they said that it could have been due to the lack of oxygen from the brain to the brain, and that it takes a certain amount of time for that to develop. But I don't think that there was any kind of head trauma, as in either girl was struck in the head.
Yeah. That
It's a
was the
lack of
rumor at the
oxygen.
beginning.
Huh?
Well, a hematoma is just a
A bruise. It's like a goose egg.
uh,
Yeah.
but so it's funny this would come up today, because for the first time yesterday, what I heard was that there was just some brain swelling that might have been attributable to an infection. So I don't know. I mean, that's the first time I've heard of it. But if it's just brain swelling, maybe that's caused by the loss of blood as well. I don't know. I'm not an ME,
Yeah, no,
but
it was the ME on the ME on the stand said, based on what Andrea Burkhart reported, was that Libby had a hematoma, but he never said anything as far as it was from an injury. He said it was because it was more than likely because of a lack of oxygen, that there was swelling in the brain. So
okay. Well, it's five of. Thank you again
yeah, I
for
know.
the opportunity, and bunch of good information.
Bye, everybody. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for having me up.
Love you, girl.
Love ya.
Love
All
ya,
right.
T.
Have a good night. Thank you, Teresa, for coming on. Michael's gone too. Guys, thank you
It's
so
just
much
me
for
and you.
being here. There's been so many questions in the chat. I don't know if Cherie's been taking notes. But I had my screen on full screen, so I couldn't always see the chat. But this was a good live. Just talking.
It was fun.
I didn't have a whole like plan, or I wish more of you would have had the nerve to come on. Hopefully in the future that you will, when we do this again, because I will do it again. Please, please, please hit the like button and subscribe and share. That helps a lot. It's free. It just makes all the work that goes into this behind the scenes worth it. And make sure you go over to Criminalities. I'm sure you all are already subscribed to Criminalities channel. So
wrong. Did you see her live with the Elvis Fields? Do you see how he spells wrong?
RONG.
Yeah, it's funny as shit.
Just wrong.
Wrong.
RONG, just wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah. It's not wrong. It's wrong.
I can't. All right, guys. You two stay here. Everybody else, love you guys. Go subscribe to Sleuthy's channel too, by the way. Okay, now my computer is freezing again. I hate my life. All right. Bye. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.
Bye.
See what I'm saying? My laptop just hates my life. It just hates me.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
trying to end the I'm trying to end the stream and it's not letting me. So we are still live until this shit stops freezing.
Richie's calling you in 2 minutes.
Okay, are we going to be live all night?
Just shut the computer.